Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 265 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the most patient man on the planet. I see the shirt you're wearing. You've waited a long time for this moment, and now you get to play it on Xbox. Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing better. Thank you for the shirt shout out. This was in the Square Enix Cafe in Kyoto, which was awesome. You know, I saw the orchestra shirt. I was like, I gotta have it.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm hanging in, brother. I mean, this has been a tough recovery for me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Much longer than I expected, but I just might as well get straight to the health as well stuff for me. So we had our abscess, we had our biopsy. We went back for post-op analysis. We are cancer-free initially. So that is good news, right? So I'm like, okay, great. So I'm like, all right, back to the gym, right? I'm ready because I'm feeling spry. Yeah. He's like, nope, we cut you open. It's like a wound. He was like, you still got another week before you could go back. And I'm like, So I'm like, all right. So what about like full recovery where I don't have to do all this stuff that y'all got me doing? Mm-hmm. And for those who are familiar with the word sitz baths and gauzes, I'm in that life right now. I hate it. It's
You're
very draining. Yeah, I'm a baby. Toddler cog. That's literally what I'm doing. Like 3 times a day. It's awful. Yeah, it's awful. So anyway, so he was like, look, it's going to be another 3 weeks. I'm like, 3 weeks?
No,
God damn. So the good news, we cancer free. The bad news is the recovery still goes on, you know, but look, it's a blessing. And then at the end of the day, stage 2 will be the next level of cancer screening. And then we're graduating to the colonoscopy, which is in that 4 to 6 week period where we could get that and get more official confirmation and preventative stuff long term. So we're on our way. So we get it. But at least I look at it this way. Monday is a target day. I get to go back. I'm dying. 2 weeks without no gym. I feel like I lost all my gains. Yeah. Your boy ain't feeling strong no more. But I'm hanging in. How you been, man?
Good. Yeah. Like I feel like I can confidently say good. I don't know. I've just been reading a lot more and doing a lot of different things. So I just kind of been like enjoying my day to day more. I've been streaming more. That's been a lot of fun. Like, did not expect to. I used to stream a lot, but did not expect to love it as much as I have, and just feeling good. I don't know. Like I feel I'm in control of my destiny right now. That's how I would define it. You know, not to be all epic and moody, but like that's how I feel. It's like it's in my hands right now. So that's a good feeling. Not feeling too tired, working hard, but not like burning out. Good. I feel like I'm in the right balance right now. And just kind of doing, as Cog would say, the heart wants, doing a little reading. I'm on a Resident Evil pilgrimage right now. Just having a lot of fun. I'm looking at some new games going, you look all right, but like I have the ones marked out that I am going to play. And I'm just excited about that. So yeah, man, been doing good. The only thing that annoys me is I can't do what you're doing because for some reason, the way my insurance like rolled over into the new year, I told you about how it was that catastrophic, right? And then they were like, yeah, you're 30 now, so out of here. Like now that you actually might get use out of this, out of here.
Damn.
So, like, we're gonna roll you over into bronze. I'm like, all right, let's do it. It's double the price. Okay.
Whoa. Yeah.
Now, in a minor blessing, I was able to pay off my car. So basically, I was like looking at our finances and talking to my wife about it. I was like, okay, like basically the money I was paying for the car is now going to go into better health insurance for us. Okay. For some reason, though, when I went to go like set up the doctor's appointments, they're like, yeah, you don't have insurance on file. I'm like, what are you talking about? So now got to set up, call them. And it's like, talking to these medical companies, bro, it's such a pain in the ass. It's never an easy, even the easiest of subjects. It's just always, let me pass you down the line. You got to re-explain your situation. Like I got to clear out at least 2 to 3 hours, which
just to deal with that. Absolutely.
Tough to do. So getting to that soon. That's the only thing that's nagging me right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, though, doing all right. Now, what I will say, Cog, is we'll stick with a little bit of health as wealth here.
Mm-hmm.
Snowy out there, isn't it?
Bro, the amount of snow is crazy right now.
JP wrote in saying, hey, Dukes, just checking in to see how you two are faring with all the winter weather on the East Coast this past week. Here in the Midwest, I was only contending with extreme negative wind chill. Would have hated to add a foot of snow on top of that. Thanks, and have a warming up in the kiln kind of day. Like JP. Thank you for writing in. Dude.
Bro.
Holy shit.
This is the most I've ever seen. Like,
same. Okay. Yeah, same, dude. The only one I remember that had a ton of snow like this that was like knocking out power was like 2010, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I remember that knocked out our power, and we had to like get both my grandparents. We went to a hotel. That was great though, dude. I had like PS3 posted up. I was playing Dynasty Warriors Strike Force. Great, dude. I was oblivious to everything.
You made a situation out of it.
I made a memory. I made a core memory out of it. But dude, this was such willpower testing snow, because I'd go out there, I'd shovel our walkway. I'd be like, okay, all clean, bro. I'd look out the window, gone. It just piled up. We got snow that's like up to my stomach here, dude. I'm 6 feet tall, and I've never seen it this high. And I'm looking at it. I said to Lily, I was like, this isn't gonna melt for like 2 months. Like, this is gonna be like, heaven forbid it snows again.
They talking about Saturday. We supposed to get a little something.
Yeah, I heard like a couple of inches.
A couple of inches. Yeah, and hopefully not as crazy as the first joint, but they said we still not done. So I'm like, Jesus. But yeah, I feel you on that. Crazy, right?
First time I ever wanted a flamethrower. Like, for real. Just take it out, torch my whole front yard, melt it all. Because I got 2 dogs, dude. So they have nowhere to go to the bathroom. Like,
so wait, how are the dogs reacting to the snow? How are your dogs reacting?
They're so adaptable, I gotta say. Like, I'm very impressed, because they are just like pooping wherever. They're just like dude, forest squat in the middle of our driveway. I was like, you know what? You're in survival mode, and I like it. I'll pick it up. I got you, bro. As long as you're going to the bathroom, they're not saying like. So this is like the point and turning point in a lot of dogs' lives, especially there's a young dog. He's turning 3 this year. This is a turning point where he starts to develop his own thoughts and feelings, and he might go outside and be like, I really like to go to the bathroom out here. I'm going to use the bathroom inside if you don't mind, you know, and he'll poop in a precious room in our house. So fortunately, they've been adapting, but I feel bad because like I take Rufus on a lot of big walks because he's a high energy dog. This takes the edge off him. You could tell he's like,
a little frustrated,
itching to get out there and just do something. Like, he's a little antsy. He's getting himself into trouble now because he just
getting a little destructive with certain things.
Yeah, dude.
Mischief.
Yeah, like sniffing food where he shouldn't be. Like, he's usually a very well behaved dog, all things considered, but because he hasn't gotten the fix, the run fix, the job fix, he's like a crazy dog right now. So that's why I'm looking outside, and I'm like, this dog, if I took him on a walk, we're just walking in the middle of the road. Like,
you can't even do anything.
No sidewalk or anything. So yeah, man, it's
that sucks.
It's been a little frustrating. But how, with your recovery, were you able to get out there and shovel?
I had no choice, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. That's why I was a little bad when the doctor told me I could go to the gym. Because I'm like, man, I was shoveling. I felt spry. Like, I was doing things. The only cool thing that came out of it is, obviously, as a longtime Destiny player, when you beat these raids, there's a lot of exclusive content, right? So I've been sitting on this Destiny raid Parker, right? It's for, what was the name of that DLC? Oh man, Beyond Light, I believe it was. And it was when they went to Europa. Bro, this jacket is fire.
Looks awesome.
Thank you. So I couldn't find a reason. It's never been that cold. And we never had that much snow for me to even use this jacket. So I was just sitting in my closet like, one day. Oh, this was the time. I was like, yes. Because I tried to come out with a regular jacket. The cold was like, get back in the house. I was like, oh. Let me get equipped. So I threw my little Parker on. I did the same thing as you. I was like, you know what? Let me go get the car. Because I got a lot where we keep our cars at. And the guy was like, look, I know everybody uses this lot. You cannot park until he's going to wait until all of it's kind of done, then get the plow through. So I said, okay, I got to park on the street. Fine. So I said, all right, so the street Sundays, I see it coming down. I waited until after LP. I said, let me make a little dent now. While it's soft, dig it out. So I dig it out. That's what the picture y'all saw. I dug that joint. I'm like, all right, cool. Bro, I went up. I looked out my window. Maybe like an hour later, snow past the tires again. I'm like, yo, this snow is no joke. But I'm glad I did it because at the end of the day, I think Monday, by the time it kind of came back again, you could tell it was starting to freeze up, get hard. So it's like, it's a good thing I kind of softened it out. And the cool thing is, I was able to bust out the 4-wheel just to test it. I do. I'm a person that don't like when the snow happens on my car because you get to see what the Rover could do. So I was like, yes. I go for it. It was acted. No one was like, "Oh, we got this." Busting through the snow, going all over the place. I was on my off-road joint for like a little hot. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? Let me drive to a couple places, see what's open. So I did that. But yeah, man, it's been real. It's been real. It's been no joke. Very tiring, but I was able to get everything off. And then I don't know about you, by us, we got this rule where you gotta take the top off your car because you know how people like on the highways and they leave the ice. Oh, they're not playing this shit. They're giving you tickets. They pulling you over. You have to clean that.
That shit's hard and it drops back and crack your windshield.
And then sometimes people be leaving the flurries like behind people, blurring people's vision. Like, yeah, it's real out here. So I knew it was real when the state of when Jersey put out like a notice like, hey, we're shutting everything down. Like you can't go out by this time or whatever. Yeah, it was real. So I just made sure I stocked up, got everything kind of taken care of. But
I went out into the madness of Costco 2 days before, and holy dude,
madness!
I have never seen. All the milk was gone,
bro.
I've never seen that before. All the milk was gone.
Insane.
We got oat milk instead. I was like, all right, that was the funniest part, bro. All the regular milk is gone, and they're sitting in these boxes and like Oatly and like fucking almond milk, like silk almond milk. Like,
the almond milk.
They can't even sell on like a winter storm right now.
Yo, that's true if you think about it, right? People like, F that milk. I ain't doing it.
Like, I'd rather have none at all. Thank you.
I didn't even think about that. That's true. Yeah, man. It's real. It's real, man. But we getting through, man.
We are. We have another question here, Cog. By the way, JP again, thank you for writing in. This question's about more of our workflow. This is more mental health as well. I like this one. It's from Fat Cat's Alley. He writes, hey, Dukes, been a fan of Maddie since the Fallout 4 days. Thank you. And found LSM because of it. As a longtime listener of LSM, as well as being someone who has really wanted to make video game content, I really enjoyed the episode where you guys are with Jimmy, where you talk about the nitty gritty of content creation. That being said, I was inspired by all of you at LSM and took the leap and started my own channel. My question for both of the Dukes is that what is one change you've made in your workflow since you started that made the biggest difference for you personally? This could be something that makes planning and creating easier or something that frees up more time, etc. Looking forward to hearing from you. Have a using that throat coat because this winter storm got me kind of day. I can make a dirty joke. I won't.
So let's start with you. I mean, obviously, you addressed you first, right? As far as like, being a content creator, things that you did to kind of like prep or create to free up more time. Like, what's some of your hacks?
I'll start low because this is something I was very slow to adopt. Get a video editor. I was very slow on that one. I insisted I had to do all my work. And then like I met great video editors like Josh, Dan, Emmett, who do good work and do better than I do, than I can ever do. Like very clean, very efficient, very timely, very on top of things. So I think video editor, like unquestionably getting something like that. You know, a lot of video editors are very affordable for the work they do, especially at least with the scale of content I make, you know, like 4 upload, like I split it up, like Dan handles all the Mr. Matty stuff. Josh handles all the retro rebound stuff. And that works for their respective schedules. Where like Josh is really only editing 2 videos a week. Dan is editing 4 videos a week, roughly. Emmett's is to be determined.
Okay.
So yeah, I think getting an editor is a huge one because what you'll start to fight against with content creation is time. Like all of these things you can do. And that sort of work you can have time for. Like I was just late to the podcast today because I told Cog, I said I have to edit a video. So because sometimes your editors are unavailable and like you can't be above the process. But if you want to like maximize your output and timeliness and quality, I think an editor is like a no doubter. It was something I was super late on. I don't think I did that until like really 2019. I finally bent the knee, which is very like all things considered late into my career. I was like, okay, I'm going to get a video editor. I'm going to get with the times. And now I couldn't imagine my content without it. I think the other thing is like really paying attention to how others work. I think I was behind on the times in other ways recently. Like I started streaming again because I've been experimenting with a couple of formats. Like I played High Guard, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I did a stream kind of just covering the news of the day and just seeing how like people gravitated to that. I obviously did a stream for the Developer Direct just to hang out with the audience and watch that together and just kind of seeing what audiences you bring in for like each type. And what I really like to see was the news stream, like had a really cool, chill community, a lot of support, a lot of people showed up. But I've noticed that a lot of content creators out there will like stream them talking about the news and like turn that into videos. And I have always done a sit down and like talk about the news in like a video format. And that makes me very late a lot.
I see what you're saying, because of the preparation. And I get you. Okay.
And it's becoming like at first it's fine, but because news is so hot every day, it's becoming a problem now, because I went from I'm late to some things to I'm late to a lot of things now. So I've had to adjust my thinking. This was a good test to sort of see like, okay, what can this turn into? And the turnout was great. And what it can turn into, we'll talk about soon. I won't say anything now, but like, I'm really excited about that, because like there seemed to be a lot of support and excitement for the format and sort of what that can become. So for me, it's also that, man, like just pay attention to what fellow creators are doing, ones you like, ones you don't like even, because sometimes they know the game well, even if you don't like how they approach things or you think you could do it better. Like that's beyond the point. It's, it's about being the best you can be. Otherwise, opportunistic behaviors are always going to get rewarded. Like you can't afford to be left behind, as in, I guess how I word it is like, I see a lot of YouTubers, like Colin's a perfect example. Colin doesn't want us, like, we can take breaks, but we can't miss content beats. And I fully agree with that. It's tough at the end of the year on us, no doubt, but there's no other way around it. There's just, you sacrifice too much by being gone for too long. It doesn't mean you have to be on top of every single topical thing when your audience is established, but being available, being there,
the consistency.
It's just there's a new replacement around the corner.
Oh, absolutely. They will leave. The audience is not loyal.
For a month, like I could and come back, but I guarantee my numbers would be shit. Like it's just not. You just can't afford to do that. So consistency. These are really simple, fundamental ones, but I think if you get these, you'll get everything. You just got to hang with it. So that's my feedback to you, Fat Cats Alley. Best of luck.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, get a good microphone.
Yeah.
People don't even watch videos, is what I've learned. They just listen to them.
They listen. Yeah,
you got to sound good.
No, for real. I think that's great advice. Paying attention to trends, seeing what's going on, seeing what people are doing. I think for me, as a person who does a lot of shows, it's more like, I think what has helped me, I think actually do that being an LSM is kind of like the prep work for kind of how you don't have to do word for word, but some beats that you want to hit, so that you don't forget. Because sometimes I'm a person that, I'm passionate, I could freestyle, but sometimes, if you organize your thoughts, especially if you're a person doing multiple shows, right, it just gives out like a better quality product. And I really like that. Some people come back and say, hey man, we really enjoyed that show. And you get the feedback from guests that came on or so on and so forth. And that I really like. So I think sometimes I can overdo it. Sometimes I gotta peel back, but prep work is always good. I always feel, especially if you're passionate about the subject and you want to make sure you get all the angles and everything kind of dialed in with whatever you're doing, whether it's live stream or video or guest or stuff like that. That's been helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That preparation is like another natural thing that you don't think about, but like is so important to your success. Like there's so many, that's the thing that like I'm trying to be careful about with the streaming is like you want to be on top of things and be there soon, but like it doesn't matter if you show up and you just spout shit. Which I think if people pay close enough attention, you can tell who the creators are who just are there and talk and kind of gab and fill in. Just they just use like run-on sentences and they're just, you can feel the timer in their head. They're just trying to hit that 10 to 15 minute threshold versus someone who wants to say something meaningful and is actually there for the topic. And I think that people who are actually there and rewarded for the top, or I'm sorry, who are there and prepared for the topic are rewarded. So
yes, I agree.
Cog is right. Preparation is everything. Hopefully this helps. Cog, let's move into the news here. This first one's a fun one because we did have a write-in about this about 2 weeks ago. And it's about a second developer direct showcase for 2026. This rumor comes by way of Windows Central's Jez Corden, who was speaking on the Xbox 2 podcast. And he says, I have heard that they are exploring doing another one this year. Don't be surprised if we do get another developer direct this year at some point. Don't know when. He says, I've heard specifically developer direct is what they're exploring for this year, but we'll see what happens, end quote. And when you think about the slate of games, like we said, say what you will, Xbox is in not a great spot, but they have a lot of games to talk about. And even what we discussed last week with Gene on Fable, where you thought, and I agree, there could have been more still to show for that. Like even the things that we were really waiting on felt very tight. Like there wasn't enough space for those. And then when you think about on top of that, Halo, Gears, etc., I'm like, man, there's so much more to be shown, where a second developer direct does make a lot of sense this year. And I think they could get away with it. So when you see this COG, Lord Jez Corden putting the word out there, in fairness, you know, he always tries to be clear, like Xbox podcasts, different from official Windows Central reporting, more like hearsay and rumors versus actual reporting. That said, COG, when you see this, what do you think?
I mean, it makes sense. If any year is for it to happen, it's this year, right? It's just the sheer slate of games. And like we said, you know, given the games the proper amount of attention, we'll also discuss, you know, about previous mistakes and shotgun blast approaches and stuff like that, where they've been bitten. And I feel like a lot of these games, you know, definitely need the proper amount to shine. So we haven't even scratched the surface. We've just been focused so much on Xbox Game Studio per se, as opposed to the Bethesda lineup, to the ABK lineup, to Xbox Global Publishing, right? And then usually they have some type of a third party showcase every year and an indie showcase. So it's getting to that point where it's just like, okay, there may need to be a second one, maybe in the fall or right before, you know, maybe early autumn or something like that, to kind of get the ball rolling on these titles so they don't get kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, there's just too much, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like, because what does this do for your prediction, right? I remember your prediction was you think the summer showcase game is Gears E-Day, right? Yeah. And I agree with that. I'm like, that feels, we'll actually be talking about Gears E-Day in a little bit here. When you see that there might be a second developer direct, the question still remains, what's the big game for this summer then? Like, I feel if you do a dev direct, like Gears should be there, right? But then can you do a double kind of thing? Like it's the big summer one. And then do you think this second direct shows up springtime? Does it show up late summer? Like that's usually when the Keeley's 1.0 is, before the 2.0 hits at the end of the year. So where's the gap that this lands in? Where does it like shape your predictions for that summer showcase E-Day presentation that we're expecting?
Yeah, it does. It does affect things because, again, if there's a second one, right, you've got a lot to showcase. And if you do, then, you know, is it possible that you pull or move something around? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I'm still going to stand on my Gears thing because I feel like it's just the magnitude of it really hits home. But I could see a situation where, let's be honest, like, I mean, here, Halo Campaign Evolve, yeah, I mean, I get it, but there's still games that I know are coming from, you know, other Xbox Game Studios that need spotlight. So, yeah, I can't see it. I can see it. It's a very interesting situation to be in, especially in a world where they also have to be cognizant of their partners that they have on the platform, aka a GTA or aka any other third party. There's so many major third party games that we're forgetting that's also part of the cadence for them to kind of promote or have the marketing rights to. So that's the other factor. There's a lot with them. So I don't envy them this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm usually hard on them with the shotgun blast, but they have to take a very measured approach so that things do not get lost in the sauce. Like they can't have what we talked about, like a, you know, the Keeper, Outer Worlds, Ninja Gaiden situation where it's like bam, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. We'll talk about that because obviously it was discussed.
Yeah. Because my big concern is that they have games. I really am thinking of Clockwork Revolution predominantly, where I think if that game gets the oxygen it needs and shows itself in the way that Brian Fargo is describing it, which is also on our list today of news, that game's going to take over. Especially if the Fable buzz is anything to go by. Like, this is the first time I feel like the Xbox stink has been off of a game where it's just like, oh my God, a big open RPG in this series that we know and love. And it seems to have gained a lot of traction online. I'm like, I think Clockwork can do that as well. But if you bury it in a showcase where like even it's 7-minute trailer, you and I talk about this all the time. I still feel people are sleeping on it. I'm like, hell yeah. What a statement. What an impression to make. Like, it took away from all the thunder that really Obsidian had. Double feature. Like, it was like, here's trying to do, and here's our other big RPG. I'm like, what about the one in the middle that was there for 7 minutes, just showing off all of its features and
they had to fight for?
Yeah, like crazy, dude. So that's a game I don't want buried. I think State of Decay 3 has kind of lost its relevance. All these games are mentioning are on this list here that had but like State of Decay 3, when that was first announced, it was like a big deal. It's like, okay, we're going to see what this team can do now with like a big budget, like not the Xbox Live Arcade energy that we had originally. Like, what are they going to do to swing hard here? But now it feels like it matters a little bit less. Is Call of Duty a developer direct game, right? Especially if like we're starting to hear murmurs that they're looking at like new, like they're not doing back to back with Modern Warfare and then Modern Warfare again, right? So a lot of question marks surrounding them, but I think a second developer direct makes a lot of sense this year, even if you double up on some games, just because, again, you know, it's like they could just so easily bury something this year. And I think for such a banner year for the brand, like we have all of this stuff happening in our anniversary year, you know, I feel like you got to nail it. I think, especially now, because this is coming down to optics too. Like, I think a lot of these games stand a chance at delivering, but it's also like the optics of like, can Xbox ship great games in spite of it all? And like, they've had their moments, but I think they just really need like a home run year where it's just like they're out of their own way consistently. And I think doing things like this would create hype and interest around the brand. Like it, you know, I wouldn't, if I'm them, I'm going to try not to do anything that leads people the opposite direction. Like, oh, I don't care about Xbox. It's like, this would, I think, draw some attention, you know, open up our minds to new formats, right? Like, absolutely. They always do it in the summer and in the winter, but it would be really cool to see like a third one technically for the year.
It's one of my favorite showcases anyway. So if you want to give me a deep dive on games that we know are potentially coming, whether it be a State of Decay, Clockwork, Revolution, anything else in the tuck, I'm down for it to make sure those get the proper spotlight and not get whisked away as a, you know, an add-on game in a show, you know, in the showcase, as opposed to getting that proper attention.
100%. Cog, we got to pay attention to the Forza Bros here because there's some mixed opinions on Reddit for this price tag here. We're talking about the premium upgrade for Forza Horizon 6, which will launch at $60. This is the upgrade bundle, by the way, on top of what the base game is doing here. So when it arrives May 16th, the standard edition will cost $70. And its premium edition will be $120. And for those of you who are playing on Game Pass, you'd pay $60 and you'd start playing on May 15th. Now, what this comes with here, as written by IGN, is 2 upcoming unannounced expansions, as well as the Italian Passion Car Pack, which does not have a release date. You also get the Time Attack Car Pack, a car pass, which adds 30 cars to your game, plus VIP membership and a welcome pass. Now, originally, the upgrade for Horizon 5 was $50. It's now $60, like I mentioned, which is a $10 jump. And this is for the exact same bundle that Horizon 5 fans got last year. Obviously, with the region pricing, this will differ from person to person here. But I was going through the Reddit post here. Some are saying it's absolutely cooked. Like, not the game itself, but like, I'm not doing that. Some are saying I'll just wait. That kind of took me out of it. But others are like, dude, I'm going to be playing this game forever. Like, I'm totally cool with this. I just thought this was interesting to see Xbox knows their golden goose right now. Just inch it up a little bit. They're like, this is the one franchise they can get away. Forza Bros, I'm sorry, we got to take you to task here. You're the one franchise Xbox can get away with upcharging a little bit and no one really blinks. They're like, all right, it's fine. I'm going to be playing it anyway. I'm going to be buying it anyway. I'm obsessed with it anyway. And Xbox knows that. You're being used by Xbox in 2026. Let that sink in, Forza Bros. Let that sink in. Anyway, Cog, your thoughts?
You messy. I mean, this to me, as the cops go by.
Yeah, that's the Forza Horizon 6 cops.
Look, you can make an argument that Mario Kart set the trend here. You know what I'm saying? When there's the title that they feel is the premier title, you're going to bend the knee. And look, I'm not co-signing all this price increase stuff. I guess my main thing was a little surprising to me is one, that you cannot get the early access as a separate, I just want to pay $10, $15 and play it early, right? That is part of this premium upgrade that is bundled in with all this content. Now, yes, if you look at the content individually, you get 2 expansions, all that. If you do the math on that, yeah, I get it. I see the value there, but it's forced. It's you have to get this package, right? And that part, I'm like, damn, that's a lot. So my other concern is that the deluxe version, you can't do that. If you look at the deluxe, it's like, yeah, you could do that. You get the car pass, you get the welcome pack, but you get no 4 days early. So look, this is clearly an attempt on the FOMO. There's no dancing around it. The other thing is the Game Pass bros. Like, if you, first of all, the funny thing is they treat it like Call of Duty. It's ultimate only. Like, that's for just to get down. You have to be at the highest tier, right? So that's number one. Number two, if you want the day, if you have Game Pass, you're like, all right, I'm gonna wait, whatever. But you know, I'm thirsty to play it early. Yeah, that's $60. Thank you. So basically, you're paying for a game. You're paying a full game money for content. Or they're testing the limits of your FOMO. And look, I ain't gonna sit here and try to defend this, but I know one thing's for sure, two things for certain. The Forza Bros go by. The vibe I'm seeing online is not really outrageous. And people like, that's same thing. Like, yo, I'm there day one. I don't care what you talk about. So what you realize is when it's with people you love, damn, the cops was running wild today. They going crazy today right now. But when it's something that people love, they're going to bend the knee. And I think they know if any franchise, because we've already said this is Xbox's number one. From the Xbox Game Studio family, this is the number one franchise. Period. And that's what we see, that they understand it. And then obviously based on financial situations and obligations that we will discuss, we see why they're doing this.
100%. Well, I mean, the cops ran by the Forza Bros how many times there? Holy,
bro, they were going through my whole segment, bro.
Forza Bros, we're praying for you. No doubt you guys will be well taken care of, though, in all seriousness. And just wanted to bring that topic to light here. Next up here, we got an update on State of Decay 3. It has a pulse. So in a broader interview with Games Radar, who was speaking to Xbox Game Studios boss Craig Duncan, he talked about a number of things. Our number one topic of the week is really about the release cadence and sort of what Craig had to say on that, because that's been a talking point on the Dukes for years. So since 2021, at least.
Facts.
So what he had to say here, we'll get into in a broader sense. But right now we're looking at State of Decay 3, where they were asked about, like, how's the game going? Like, there was just some teases, but no real updates of any kind. He says, I think the PR in this room will murder me if I give you an answer to that. So here's what I'll say. I have done a number of visits to that studio in the last 6 to 8 months. I have sat and played the game with the team a bunch of times. It's coming on really well. We're very excited about the franchise and its potential. So I will certainly see a lot more of it in the coming year. Is that a good answer to your question? So it has a pulse, and he's playing it a lot, seeing it a lot. My brain always flashes to Project Blackbird and playing games, but I think this one will see the light of day. Who knows? Right. But when you see this COG, what are the chances we see State of Decay in 2026? I imagine quite high.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pulse, right? We have a pulse. That's all you could ask for at this point. I mean, if he'd have dodged the question completely, that would have definitely gave me a red flag. To your point, it doesn't guarantee, what I'm saying? We've been with Xbox's history that this comes out and whatever. But the fact that he mentioned it, and he seemed to mention it playfully in confidence, like, hey, I played it, it's coming together well. You're going to hear about it this year or whatever. That bodes well. I mean, my main concern with that studio is there's been so much turnover, right? So much from a director level to so many people internally. And then I do worry about what the direction of the game is, because we know they want to make it bigger, right? But you got the Unreal Engine thing. You had the with State of Decay 2, you had the tether situation where they, you had to be all kind of lined up when you did that. So there's a lot here, and I love this game. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, any news is good news, right? You're still alive for now, right? So hopefully we see it at the showcase, right? We get some information on it. If I had to guess, this feels like a 2027 game still. I don't see, even if it's ready, I don't see any spot for it in the year that they're having, which is Xbox 25, right? I just don't. There's just too many games. So to me, it'd be a disservice to try to force this out. So I would hope that you show it, you give more information on it, and then boom, 2027 is bad boy, developer direct at the top of 2027, and then you go really deep dive with gameplay mechanics, missions, or whatever it has to be. So that's my hope for it.
Yeah. I imagine we would get at least some type of glimpse at it this year. We actually had a write-in about this from Buzzard. He says, "Hey, fellas, hello from Australia. After the developer direct, I was disappointed in no State of Decay 3. Are we to assume that it'll be released in 2027? It was announced nearly 6 years ago now and teased on and off since then. What are your thoughts on this game, the state of its development, game announcements that are way too early, and when do you think we'll finally get to see a deep dive on it?" So Cog dove into that a little bit already. This is one that I could also see a world, just given its like seemingly up and down development cycle. And, I always go back to that studio report we saw a while ago and how there was like a lot of factions formed within the team and they were all going in different directions. Like, it's really hard to always see a positive outcome to that story. Like, we heard similar stories with Rare even, and like we see how that went. So 343 famously had factions with different directions that they were trying to push. So when I think about State of Decay 3, I also wonder a little bit about, with that weight, how much they can deliver on. Like, how much is this rethinking what State of Decay is? What couldn't they previously do that they can do now? That sort of stuff. And obviously, there is zombie fatigue. That's the other element, too. So I just wonder how much this game will resonate nowadays like it would have 4 years ago. Where it reminds me of some of that class of 2018 games where time's kind of working against it potentially. And maybe that's what's influencing my thinking a little bit. I think of like your Hellblades and whatnot, where I'm building up this image in my head of one thing it can be, but it might just be more prettier State of Decay.
State of Decay 2, right.
And could that be great? Sure. We'll see. But I hope they do. Like, for example, like a lot of State of Decay is collecting resources, stealthily navigating zombies, becoming very attached to your random character that you're playing as, who grows in skills throughout the course of a game but can permanently die. A lot of games have taken ideas from State of Decay. So my question is, will that still feel the same as well at this point in time? And I think that's partially my concern. I feel like if they do deliver, I'm sure, given Undead Labs' previous games, that this will be a good one. But will it resonate as deeply? And has the time spent, will it balance out well? Because we know when review time comes and player impression time comes, that stuff kind of like gets factored in every time. Like, they've been gone. It just got announced in 2020. Every review is going to start with that. My own's going to start with that. Like, back in 2020, this game got announced. Whoa, it's been a long road. Here we are. Was it worth the wait? Well, XYZ, so.
Right, no, valid. If I could jump in. I think your point, I think my biggest concern with, as a person who loves this franchise a lot, is that when you have so much studio internal turnover at the top level, now the vision of the game has changed, right? And we've seen examples where that can affect development. Like, we had Carry On, we talked about Avowed and where it started and what the initial direction was. So to me, once Strain left, right, I'm like, ooh, okay. And that's why I was very nervous. I'm like, man, I hope this does not get canceled. And then to your point is, look, I'm such a fan of the game. Yes, if you give me a pretty more State of Decay, yeah, I'll enjoy it, right? But I guess for me, I want that significant jump from the gameplay systems wise, where you now have this cooperative zombie game with permadeath, but it's more involved. There's more new game-changing elements where you step forward and make more breakthroughs in this genre, as opposed to just giving us what we've had already. And don't get me wrong, I like what we had here, but for this long of a wait, the criticism will be, how did you evolve the formula, right? Yeah. That's going to be a fair criticism. So that's what I need to see from them to truly, don't get me wrong, Unreal Engine 5 glow up, we like that, right? We love that, but show me gameplay systems wise, what has changed fundamentally that takes this to the next level, that kind of can get you spoken about and looked at differently by the masses. That's what I want to see from them, because I think this franchise has a lot of potential, and it's a shame that the development has just taken so long. There's been so much going on with it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, one game that we were at one point on the verge of expecting last year, and we have to imagine we're getting this year, is Gears of War E-Day. The Coalition actually also did an interview with Games Radar talking a bit about Gears of War E-Day and what to expect. So we're starting to finally unpack this one here. And we got a couple of interesting answers here, such as the tone of the game. They say, Our story is set over consecutive days so that players can become intimate with the city. We want them to feel the loss of what was here, the history, the people, the lives that they were living. You get to visit downtown city streets, historical landmarks, military installments, industrial emulsion refineries, and even forested outskirts. They also say the story of Emergency Day. It's really about what happens to the people of Sarah. It was a massive worldwide event, and we wanted players to feel the impact. So we decided to set the game in a single city. We think it has the potential to be one of the best stories in the Gears franchise, and certainly the most heart and emotion when you're looking at Marcus, Dom, and the origin of the Brotherhood that they forge in this game. End quote. Bold words. Bold words after Gears 5, Cog. Your thoughts on what to expect here from Gears E-Day, the tone, the city, the Brotherhood, one of the best stories in a well-loved franchise for its story. How are we feeling about this, Cog?
Oh, they talking that talk I want to hear. Mm-hmm. That's everything I want to hear. Like, again, I'm a Gears 1 fan. Dark tone, horror, setting. And I don't know if it was this article, but I saw another article where he spoke to them, and maybe it was this and I just missed it, in terms of they said they want to take it back to, a city being completely unprepared for a locust invasion. And he's like, think about, the creatures that's underneath your bed at night. Horror. Like, I like where they're going. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's Gears to me. And then the relationship, young Marcus, young Dom, to see what's going on there. Obviously seeing things pre-invasion, how things were, get that attachment, that emotional thing. I want to see how they connect that. And then again, as a person who's followed the lore through tactics and other stuff in the pre, there's a lot of rich characters that they could touch on to see that development, or at least mention and reference. I ain't gonna lie to you, this has been going higher and higher up my list because I like the mindset Coalition is. And let's be real, before all the Xbox Game Studio family, before my Black Rock, before Playground, it was Coalition. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I like where I love the decision to take this on. I am here for it. They are talking exactly what I want from this franchise. So we will see. So this is now risen up to the top of my anticipated list. And like, the motto, F them kids. This is what I want.
Do you think they're going to take a similar route to Gears 5 where they had like very open areas?
When he's talking, we are going to focus on this city and give you this emotional attachment to this. That screams linear to me. I mean, that now, to your point, they may have like a between segment thing, but I thought that experiment in 5 didn't necessarily go the strongest for them. You know what I'm saying? I think they've learned that. So I'm hearing like a linear, tight, emotional story with horror beats. The only thing I need from them, this is what I would hope for, is Hive Busters did something was different, which was a set of characters and they all had individual abilities and skill sets. I need some form of an evolution of the formula as opposed to cover, hit the reload, curb stomp. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fun. We love it. Classic Gears. Yeah. Give me some iteration of the formula now where I'm like, okay, this feels individual. This feels different, like the classes and stuff like that. So I know that's asking a lot because it is a prequel and, sometimes you don't necessarily get new gameplay mechanics in a prequel, but I will be a little disappointed if if they go from a gameplay standpoint, super safe. Like I just need some little kick here. You know what I'm saying? To go.
That's what gets my brain going on this game is.
Talk to me.
I still can't understand what the future vision of this is. I know you said F them kids and I'm with you like, all right, we'll leave Gears 5 as Gears 5 is. Is the goal to rebuild the story up from here? Is the goal like, hey, we're going to tell a new trilogy here and figure out the rest later?
Oh, I see.
Is there something happening in E-Day that feeds into 5? I know that's, by the way, crazy thought because it's supposed to feed right into 1, right? Like, is that what happens here? Like, what I know what led to this decision, I can imagine, right? Like getting back to the essence, getting back to the core, getting back to the Marcus Dom, that Brotherhood. I think that's a good choice. But like, I want to know the end result of this, right? Because you're right. Having like a prequel, someone might play this. They just did Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So someone might play this and go, oh, I want to get into this next. Is this game going to just have a conduit immediately to the beginning of Gears 1? Or is it a whole set of 3 games that then lead into what happens with Gears 1? I mean, that's what I just can't wrap my head around their vision. They're like one of the people the teams I want to interview most. I'm like, I want to know what the plan is for the future. And I feel like beating this game will tell us so much. It reminds, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was that moment for me, like where you played the first game, like that was great. I don't know what they're going to do. I see obviously do a sequel, but when you beat that game, the whole vision of like what the first game meant, now the second game, and what the third game will eventually be like, oh, okay. I think I get where they're going with this. I want to have that moment with Gears E-Day because they could go so many directions that you say one way for sure is how they're thinking about it. So yeah, this is one I think we'll see a lot of this year. I think we'll play it even this year. But I like what they're saying. No doubt about that. Next one, Cog. Too little, too late, I think. Achievements. There's a little bit of shakeup going on here. Pure Xbox points out that Xbox achievements have been visually redesigned, showing up in the new cloud gaming UI. I'll read the article here. Be sure to support Pure Xbox. Great website. Yeah, it's been a long time since Xbox has done anything with its achievement system, but people have been spotting that since the new cloud gaming dashboard went live yesterday, a redesign has been put into place. And just to be clear, this is a visual redesign and not a functional one. They still work exactly the same way as before, but now the default color scheme, logo, and font is different compared to what we see on console. The folks at True Achievement have captured an image to show how the new design looks, and you can see it's got like a little more art attached to it. Cog, when you look at this, do you think they're finally going to start doing something with this system? Are they finally, has everything, I remember that Jason Ronald quote, right? Like how have they cleared everything out of the way now so that the thing that's been on their list for a while, are they finally tackling it, Cog? Like they're getting the visuals down and maybe they're looking at like, hey, let's do that platinum, guys. Let's do that platinum. Like, are they doing that? What are you thinking? Are they waiting for the new generation at this point? Will it even happen? Do they care enough when you don't have a console that they care about with them in a few years' time? Like, I don't know how to feel, God. Walk me through this.
I mean, when I see this, it's like, look, I would love to hope, but and I love, look, to me, this is just visual UI stuff. Like, there's nothing to me per se that screams, "Yo, we about it. We really gonna do this." I mean, yes, you could look at the rare achievement and see a diamond and go, "Okay, we could kind of jump off of that." You go, "Bro, they gonna do platinum now," and I'm not going there. We've had all this time, right? That has gone past. And to me, they have shown to me that their focus is Play Anywhere. Their focus is the full Xbox full screen experience where, we're trying to integrate all these storefronts. And as a result, their storefront has fallen behind as far as, their achievement thing. And I don't want to be Debbie Downer on it. It's just that got to show me enough talking. Like, you got to show me this is still not going to give me confidence that you're going to do the platinum and the overhaul that we truly want from them, that kind of thing. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this is the precursor to it, but I ain't popping bottles off this.
Yeah, I saw some popping bottles, and I was a little like, guys, calm down a little bit here. But I wondered if it meant they were tinkering just a little bit, right? Because that's like a little win. That's a little win that Maddie needs right now. That we all need right now. God, would I love to see them finally do this, because it would just be a sign of like investing in what players have asked about for a while, and that's something that I think would benefit them. But now I just can't believe we're at the point now where this demand for a new achievement system or rethinking of it or just adding a couple of new bells and whistles to it has gone on so long that I have now transformed the conversation into, are they not going to do it? Because again, their change to hardware has made it not really valuable to them at all.
These are valid questions.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like crazy.
Yeah. And to me, I'm going to be real with you, where I am really got me tight and I'm in the unforgiving mood is, bro, you didn't do a year 2025 wrap up on your own console.
God, didn't you see though? The budget was tight. That's what they said. The budget was too tight this year, so they couldn't do that. Don't you understand?
Bro, miss me with that. Miss me with none of that. I don't want to hear it. Like, bro, that is such a... I shouldn't say easy, because I don't know the cost involved. I'm going to be respectful. However, you are clearly stating to your audience that the hours of time invested for the people who remain, there's still people who remain, that you're monetizing.
God bless.
right? You know what I'm saying? That you are not giving them appreciation for the amount of time invested. I'm sorry, that's inexcusable to me, especially, fine, you're going to be a publisher. We get it, right? You're slowly moving away from hardware. We get it. But you have an ecosystem. You have one. Every single one of your competitors is doing it. And that to me is, again, this is where the Microsoft gaming part gets in the way. It just does. Like, I don't want to hear about that, because now all you're showing me is that, and I think it's a valid criticism for people who've remained loyal to you, right? When you stop doing the little things, like a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop bringing candy, stop bringing roses, you stop doing the little things, right? The people go, oh, you don't care about me no more. You clearly do not care about me. And that's the message I don't like that's being permeated. And again, I feel it's Microsoft gaming, but it's still no excuse. I don't like stuff like that. I was legit looking forward to, like, I was like, damn, I got amount of hours. I was going to see if my Destiny record got broken. Did the game finally take it down? Because I know I put KCD 2 hours crazy this year. Like, I was in that zone. I want to know my gaming habits. I want to see what's going on. And I know you got the data to track it, but you ain't got it now all of a sudden.
Yourself.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say this time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm running out of the words, man. I've been doing it so long. I'm running out of the words. Let's talk earnings. You know, maybe there's a reason why Xbox isn't investing in an achievement system, and it's because y'all aren't showing them the paper. And they're like, all right, figure it out yourselves then. Go get a platinum, would you? So we have the fiscal year, or Q2 fiscal year 26 results, which is the 3 months that ended by December 31st, 2025. So basically, we're looking at, to my understanding here, Xbox's holiday period. The total gaming revenue was down 9% year over year. Content and services were down 5%. And hardware revenue, unsurprisingly, as we know with the next playground, dropped 32%. I think that last bullet point is redundant. I not to speak for you, Cop, but I don't imagine we have anything to say on hardware declining.
Surprise.
But when we were talking about this before the show, you were a little surprised by those first 2 bullet points. So I'd love to pass it to you here and get into these numbers a little bit more.
Yeah, no, this is a big deal. And we can't minimize this, because at the end of the day, look, like you said before, hardware in decline is no surprise. The price of the console, the amount of not trying to really push it, sell it, that's not a surprise. We knew that number was going to continue to increase as far as percentage down. But the thing that they've always held their hat on was gaming revenue and gaming services. They even said themselves, judge us by this. These are out of their own mouths. So to me, like, this is a big deal, especially during that period, right? Where we go to say what, that December, that holiday period, you got Black Friday in there. And to me, this is also an indictment of Call of Duty. This is one of the worst Call of Duties from a performance standpoint on record. And usually that holiday, that's the window. Because remember, in the past, when services and revenue was up, when Black Ops people were like, yo, that's Call of Duty, that's ABK saved them. That would be the rhetoric during that time. This is concerning. If I continue to see a pattern of gaming revenue and content and services down, oh boy, sounds like the Sega days to me. Gives me deja vu I don't like. Now again, I'm not trying to overreact, but I gotta be real. I have not seen that part. Hardware, we used to that. They don't care about the hardware, whatever.
Yeah.
Gaming revenue, content and services. Ooh. And here's the thing, that keep happening. Then you start seeing people moving around. That's just how it works in corporate. Again, I'm not going to overreact, but this is something to keep.
Just to make sure I understand, you're talking about
leadership. Right? Oh, yeah. Because see, the thing is, in corporate, you get your performance reviews. You get your, what have you done to raise the business? Right? So these are the questions the stakeholders are going to be, okay, so what's going on here? Right? And you got to explain yourself. Or what happened, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And again, I'm not coming for anybody's job or anything like that, but that's just how it works, especially if we start to see a pattern. That's going to be the next, Xbox report. What's going to happen? Now, granted, from a release standpoint, again, I always mess up with the months and the year over year compared to last thing. But, obviously, in my mind, I'm thinking like, Outer Worlds, Ninja Gaiden, Call of Duty, Keeper, again, I'm just thinking sales. I'm thinking subscription services. I'm thinking just monetization on the platform, right? And that it's just something to watch. So that's just where I'm at with it. We'll see. But I think that's a big eyebrow raiser, in my opinion.
It really shows, I mean, how much Call of Duty has to carry. I mean, Activision really has to carry Xbox right now, because as we saw with the numbers leading into the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, their revenue was down. That was one of our first moments of like an eyebrow raise, where again, I apologize to the listeners. I've said this point a number of times, but I think it's relevant to this, is that we saw Starfield do great numbers. It sold really well, helped out Game Pass a lot from our perspective, from the data that was given to us. We're like, okay, like at least out of everything, this seemed like a needle mover, but the numbers hit and like it was 1%. I forgot which way it went, down or up, but it was like 1%. We're like, this didn't move the needle for them at all. Activision Blizzard King joins the crew, and suddenly we see gaming revenue up 55%, right? And this was after a launch of Call of Duty following the holiday period, right? So what this says to you is that when Activision's down, so is Xbox. So there's been a lot of like, did they, didn't they, when it comes to Black Ops 7, like, did it fail? Did it not fail? It's still Call of Duty. It's still in the top 10 sales for this year. But we can see based on these numbers that game did not do well.
Right.
Like, that's just the cold, hard facts here, that based on everyone was like, oh, but the Steam numbers are a little bit oversold, et cetera, et cetera. But dude, no, like, this is bad. This is bad, because Call of Duty could be poised for a bounce back, but with like how things are going right now, it's making less money. That tightens the operation more, because Xbox is not known to just double down and reinvest in a losing product. So they would try to like re-tighten the screws on this thing. And that involves shedding off a number of staff, which when they brought Activision into the fold, they did already shed off a number of Call of Duty leads. So I don't know, man. I oftentimes I look at these earnings reports. I'm like, yeah, Xbox is down. That's about what's been expected. But man, like after a holiday period, I mean, where they made all the wrong decisions, right? Like they didn't even put their console on sale, which I know the hardware number is always going to be down no matter what, but they didn't put their console on sale during Black Friday. And like, this is what you get. Like, even if you own an Xbox, I think earnings are also down because I'm not incentivized to spend on a platform that doesn't value a customer base enough to give them a discount during the holiday period. Even if it's something to do with RAM and AI, I'm still seeing discounts in other places, and they're not as massive as they once were, but it's happening. And then you get outsold by the next playground. And it's like, all right, dude, like, you know, like this is you made your bed and you lie in it. So
just to add in, I'm looking at Piscatella's thing, and what's crazy is for December of 2025, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was the number one selling game. But to your point, it still must not be moving the needle to what is expected or required from them. You know what I'm saying? It just, I'm just looking at that last period, you know, I'm gonna send you this link right now.
Please. Yeah,
it is interesting, bro. It is interesting. Hold on one second.
Well, it says a lot about the Game Pass price hike too, right? Like
that part too. I'm trying to think, didn't that correlate around that time?
That was
November, right?
August or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it correlates around that time when they did the Game Pass changes and the hike right before Call of Duty.
Yeah,
if I remember right. So you might be right. Yeah,
I made a video on it. So hang on, let me do a little scroll.
Yeah.
Because man, that was when we were just beating the shit out of Xbox 3 months ago. Yeah.
And then, he said hardware overall, the spending was decreased. Oh, yeah, that we're not surprised about. But to your point, yeah, man, this is concerning. Yeah.
Like it just shows that every move they've made, like, okay, so a lot of people argued when they jump the price, and this doesn't definitively say so because we don't have the hard numbers to work with, we have percentages, but a lot of people are like, well, and we re-rationalize the same thing. Like, okay, well, they moved up the Game Pass price, content services and revenue were the main thing that kind of kept going up for them. They moved the Game Pass price up. They're charging the existing base a lot more, like $30 a month type more. But a lot of people are going to leave because of that. But those who hang around are going to make up the difference. I wonder if that happened at all. Did more people unsubscribe than we maybe initially considered.
I don't even think the subscription thing is that much of a revenue driver anymore. To me, I look at it as, remember, they already operating in the capacity of pseudo third-party publisher already, right? So to me, sales gotta be, it's not, to me, it's a combination of like softness of Call of Duty. That's number one. Because I agree with you. Call of Duty, ABK is carrying them that during, this period. But also softness of the other products that were multi-platform. Outer Worlds 2, multi-platform. Ninja Gaiden 4, multi-platform. Again, if those are included in this thing. Again, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, so I just want to correct myself if I'm wrong there. But I just look at like their other sales for that period decline. And I'm like, yeah, that's softness. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I definitely think I want to be clear. Call of Duty, yes. But what else, all the other stuff you're doing in that period, yes, as well. I don't want to negate that part. So it is something to be concerned. And again, the next one and the next one, if we start to see a trend with that, oh boy, then we got to start being like, okay, what's happening with the gaming division, right? So again, that's a concern in my opinion.
It just feels like the sky is falling in some ways, right? Like, even because like when I say it like that, obviously we look at the clear talking points, the Game Pass price hikes, the sentiment around the brand, the multi-platform push, et cetera, et cetera. But then you look at things like we're about to talk about in a little bit here, next gen basically being delayed now because of like RAM pricing and hardware pricing. It's not like easy for consumers to adopt right now. And that works very much against Xbox. And when you see these types of things happening, like we talked about, where that next Xbox felt like it was going to happen by a matter of convenience of timing. Like it didn't make sense for Xbox's plans, but it's like, all right, we're already in full swing. We're already headed in this direction and may as well, like, one last time, right? The off ramp, as you call it. And now when you see the numbers going down, not just in hardware, which has been the case for a while, but now in some of your key areas and during a window where you have the biggest game of the year and it's still going down, what can stop the bleeding? Right.
That's a good point. And again, it also, we have to highlight how well Forza Horizon 5 and these other things that did well on other platforms, right? Think about how worse they would have been if those numbers that were positive in the direction didn't, happen. To basically what I'm trying to say is like, they've got to be concerned. If I still, again, would have put in the blame, yes, they still got to be concerned with the Call of Duty part because it's like, yo, you had, I forgot the number it was that they really did well with Forza Horizon 5. It was like, when they got their chest out and they talking, like, they did well at that point. So to me, if that did well, and that still barely didn't offset a lot of this stuff, yeah, man, it's basically what I'm saying. It could have been worse, is what I'm trying to say.
When you think about like 3 potential heavy hitters for the year, Oblivion Remastered.
Right. I forgot about that. Was huge.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I know it was earlier in the year, but still like that was there. That could have been a big holiday game. So you had that. Forza Horizon 5 doing numbers on PS5. And then Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like you still found a way at the end of the holiday season where like all the games are on sale and like you found a way to be down. That's not good, bro. That shows that your base just like, to me, like even if it's a small percentage, like I know some people who are like diehard Xbox listeners are going to be like, fuck these guys. Like they're down on like a single % dip. I'm just like, the point is that they are down during a holiday period when more people are spending than ever. They had a great lineup.
Right.
And like, it's all discounted and people on the platform aren't really spending like they should be or are expected to be by Xbox. And so not a good sign, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't agree, especially when they themselves, again, even if you're a person who is extremely positive and think this is a blip, we have to be honest with the fact that they themselves said, judge us by content and services and not hardware anymore. They themselves said that. Yeah. So internally, they cannot be pleased with this. So we got to be real about it, talk about it.
You have to imagine, famous last words, you have to imagine this will be a better year.
One would think.
You got the home run in Forza on top and a brand new Forza, on that. And that's going to be multi-plat. You got Fable, provided it doesn't get delayed. GTA 6, third party, like there's that in there. Call of Duty.
This is a GTA year. This is called Call of Duty year. They got all these titles, the Gears, the Halo, like you would think, right? And then most of the big ones are now if you notice, like one thing that I thought was interesting was I thought it was a smart decision with the playground as far as making sure Fable came out on PS5 because you want that in that, they call it the Four Horsemen, right? You want that in that category. You've proven that you could have Forza come out late on PlayStation and be fine, right? So I was like, okay, that's smart. I get that, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. But yeah, this, if they don't do something this year, right? Oh boy. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
I agree. Cog, let's move to the next topic here. We're looking in the world of PlayStation for a couple of topics here. This one actually picks up basically right where we had left off here. It's a report from IGN who says a recent analyst report has suggested that Sony may push the launch of the PlayStation 6 beyond 2028 and lengthen the PS5 lifecycle. Ahead of Sony's third-party quarter financial report due on February 5th, 2026, David Gibson, senior analyst at MST International, who focuses on game and tech companies, published a Japanese language report giving insight into Sony Group's current performance and potential next moves. According to Gibson, Sony's earnings for the third quarter are expected to exceed forecasts, with strong sales of first and third-party games driving growth. He also noted that game and network services, including PSN subscription, are set to remain strong. Q3 sales are predicted to total out to 1.8 trillion yen, which is approximately $11.6 billion, with an operating income of about $1 billion. And then says Sony expects the PS5 lifecycle to be much longer than that of previous console generations, Gibson said, adding that this will likely push the PS6 launch back beyond previous predictions. There's a high likelihood that the PS6 launch will occur after 2028. If Gibson is right, we won't see a PS6 until 2029 at the earliest. Cog, with that in mind, how do you feel about that? I see this and I go, excellent. Wonderful. I don't want a new gen, bro. I just did a retrospective on Retro Rebound for Titanfall 2. And in that video, Cog, and I'm sure you already have known this for a while because you played it much earlier than me. What a beautiful looking video game, right? That's a 2016 video game. And it is the perfect melding of like artistic direction. Like there are artistic choices made within it while still capturing a level of fidelity. Like I talked about the color grading for the levels. Like you do Effect and Cause, right? The level where you're like teleporting between two different timelines. Ooh. It's raining. It's got like a blue hue to it. Like the usage of color there transfers a mood to you on top of the weather. But bro, those weapons still look sharp. The character models look sharp. Like the lighting is great. The use of shadows are great. Like there's still technological techniques deployed to make this a like current gen video game, but there's still artistic choices made so that it looks great well beyond its years, right? So when I see that we're trying to get a new gen, I'm like, bro, I feel like, as you've said a bunch of times, the 2020 systems I bought are still kind of getting going here. Like I have yet to feel, beyond new games being there, I have yet to feel, I think Elden Ring is the only game that really comes to mind where I'm like, this felt next generational. Like this felt impossible. Hellblade 2 could also get thrown on the list because of just its visuals alone. Like it just is impossible on any other hardware. But I don't think I got much of a game out of that. But still, just to kind of be fair to my point here, I feel like those experiences have been few and far between. It's because we're getting diminishing returns. I like the idea of there being a bigger gap here because when we did take that leap even from PS3 and 360 to PS4 and Xbox One, over time you could feel that, bro. Like every game looked like it had a little Vaseline on the screen, but suddenly it was like, wipe that shit clean, dude. The scale was there. It was like right in between. Like it was polished and good looking enough to be like truly beautiful while also not being so seismic, like potentially what we're seeing right now with Crimson Desert. Very ambitious open world game. So I want to wait just because I feel like technology needs to get to a point where it's like, okay, we can no longer do what we want to do with these games. So Cog, with that in mind, PS5 2029, the earliest, what are we thinking with that one?
Yeah, this is, man, I mean, there's part of me that is not surprised based on the climate of what's going on, especially with, you know, AI situation and rounding up all the damn RAM and the chips and stuff. And console manufacturers like, yo, we got to be careful with this, you know what I'm saying? Because we are not trying to get caught out there. So look, short-term PS5 is doing well, right? The issue comes down to, from a selfish standpoint, I'm with you, right? Which is like, yo, we didn't maximize these consoles yet. This has been a very stunted generation from the standpoint of the most popular live service games still remaining on past generation consoles, which are preventing people from upgrading. So we still, I mean, even Battlefield, as late as we are in the gen, is one of the few that kind of say, hey, we're next gen only. Right? We've still seen that cross adaptation thing going on for so long. We're not used to that in this level of the cycle. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, I get it. Selfishly, I'm like, hey, stick around longer. I don't care. I'm not in a rush for no new console kind of thing. The only thing I'm concerned with them is, I don't know if you're paying attention to what's been going on with their other divisions and TV, and they just made this deal with TCL, and TCL kind of brought out Bravia Sony TVs. Their other divisions are not really doing well. So PlayStation is very key for them. And then I look at like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, I say interesting. Okay.
The TCL, if you just Google like the TCL situation, like I know Sony as the premier brand from back in the day when it came to hardware and tech and TV, the Bravia line and all that stuff. Now you're spinning that off to TCL. I'm like, okay, interesting. To do things you got to do to survive. You got, the Netflix situation going on. You got a bunch of things happening where I'm like, PlayStation is extremely critical to your business. So now we fast forward to what's going on. The article said something that was very interesting to me. They were like, where Gibson suggested that Sony is more focused on existing PS5 users than boosting console sales. So that was the first thing I noticed. They said Sony is focusing more on retaining active users than expanding. So to me, that's monetizing more what you already have, as opposed to say, hey, we're trying to sell consoles. The other thing I remember we talked about was the whole security risk thing with the source code and blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to come out with some form of hardware at some point, because if that, depending on how widespread this gets, if the existing PS5 that we have and everything prior can be manipulated that way, you can't afford a Vita situation. That's what got the Vita out of here, where people were able to get in. Now, granted, it's very bespoke. How many people actually do it, that's to be determined. But it is a security flaw, right? Which then kind of forces your hand to make something in a climate where the chips and the RAM and everything to make one is super expensive. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then comes the window. When do you do it, right? It's just, we're in this weird zone, bro. So it's just like, here's the other thing. He said the timing of a console's launch can make or break the success. Let's see with the Sega Dreamcast. At the moment, Sony seems to be sticking with the PS5 and PS5 Pro thanks to strong network service profits, healthy game sales, and growing active user numbers. Let's remember that the console exclusive Grand Theft Auto 6 due out later this year is sure to spark a stage for sure. And they're going to be treated like the marketed #1 platform. No doubt. That's going to be huge for them. However, Gibson warned that if Sony waits too long to launch the PS6, it could create long-term risks. So that's another thing we got to pay attention. They're in between. So even though we don't necessarily want them to go out there and say PS6, we're like, yeah, great. They need to do that. So that's where it gets interesting. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, man.
Yeah, well said. Well said that they're in more of a bind than we think. Like it seems like they can ride the PS5 if that's all they care about, but given their other businesses
and the long-term success of the
create pressure. That's really, really interesting. Because otherwise I was like, they're good to ride this thing out. But now you say that, I'm like, can they?
That's the thing.
Should they?
I know.
Maybe they could bolster it a little bit. They've been creative a little bit. Like PS Portal got like a second wind, right? Like supporting peripheral devices have seemingly been a big part of the PlayStation 5 strategy. So maybe those parts of the ecosystem might be helpful. At the same time, I could see a huge boom for the PS6 whenever that comes around. Just if like the wait gets longer, it's just going to be like crazy demand, especially because what is Xbox going to be in so demand that it's going to be like, get one or the other. It's going to be like everyone wants just this one thing because that's like a platform that might still be doing exclusives at that time. I think they can get creative as well. Like speaking of which, if they decide that exclusivity doesn't make sense for them because of this situation, maybe they start putting more games on other consoles.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. The exclusivity point, the PC to port turnaround, shortening that window. Also, what me and you both want from them is that damn handheld. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do the handheld as a style. And you could get away with a pricey price point if you're giving us the PlayStation experience unlike the raw guy. And you giving us the true play. Look, the Portal was a good test bed because I slandered the hell out of Portal. I was very disrespectful. But I was like, who is this for? And it showed that people, even though it was still in the house at the time, and yes, they've expanded to Wi-Fi, you could do remote play, but it showed how much of a desire for the portability of the PlayStation ecosystem. Yeah. So now, hey, you throw that joint in, what does they call it? Project Canis or whatever it is.
Yeah.
People might be more willing to, with the Sony brand, to pay a little $700. But you giving me all, I could play my Ghost of Totei on the go. I could do, you know what I'm saying? People might be, they've got the brand power. The people that say, yo, I'm in. You know, kind of thing. But they got to protect the PlayStation brand for sure.
Completely. Yeah, no, the little bits of hardware like that could go such a long way. So I'll be keen to see how they approach things. Because again, I think the third party strategy maybe a bit of an eye roller for some. But I mean, look at what Final Fantasy VII Remake is doing on Switch right now.
Oh, do you see it? I'm so happy.
Number one,
them, bro.
Top 10 on Xbox.
Yeah,
like number one.
So happy.
It was ahead of Animal Crossing,
bro.
Like, which got its big 2.0 update. Like, I think I'll put it this way: I think Final Fantasy Remake would have been on higher up on the Xbox charts for two reasons. Number one, I think if Xbox stayed the course and was going their direction, this would have been a little bit more of an appealing purchase because, like, finally, I hung with the brand and like I got this. But like, they gave you a reason to leave, and now them finally getting Final Fantasy VII Remake is like, all right, like I guess the scales kind of balance out here a little bit, but it's not as impactful as it once was. But also just the portability of Final Fantasy VII Remake, while still looking as great as it does, because the Switch 2 is much more powerful, I think is a really compelling purchase. But you look at that, like that was originally PlayStation only, and you see the demand when that leaves. I know that's Square Enix's money, but I'm saying like when that leaves PlayStation and goes out to another platform, what that can do, especially the Switch, if the match makes sense. Like we know PlayStation has a big racing fan base because of Gran Turismo. Here comes Forza Horizon, and it's undoubtedly the best-selling Xbox game on PlayStation by a country mile, pardon the pun. So I do think this is something PlayStation could tap into to give themselves a little extra money. But if they're like picky with it, like they were with Helldivers 2, where it's like perfect fit, you know, perfect fit. And it did really well for them, and it didn't break any rules per se, where they can kind of get away with it. I think that might be something they do a little bit more if this creates a pressure situation for them, like that in a handheld.
Yeah.
Golden.
I think you're on fire because I think also, you know, when he said, and again, according to the analyst in this thing, they're not trying to sell more consoles, but try to, you know, get more from the base. If you do that strategy, and then remember, we still can't avoid the elephant in the room with PlayStation Publishing LLC. You created that for a reason. So to me, it's like, even if it's like, okay, now with legacy titles, we get, you know, it's enough time for, you know, maybe a Days Gone or the old God of War, the Jaffe God of Wars. You know what I'm saying? Package deal, get you up to speed. You know, legacy.
Yeah,
you know,
nothing would make me happier because Sony's been on their PS3 a lot this last month or so. Like, it's a lot of great games that PlayStation kind of just left there. And I mean, I think it would just be as valuable to them if they like put this as part of PS Plus. Like they have PS1 games, PS2 games, PSP games. Like PS3 is the obvious missing part of that service. And I think they're going to do that first. But, you know, if you can respark interest or just sales by when Xbox brought Gears of War Ultimate Edition over to PS5, like it didn't do as well as we thought it would. Like we thought that was an easy milli.
Yes.
But I do think if there's a world where like PlayStation starts porting, like you mentioned, the old God of War trilogy, right? Like this isn't the story anymore. It's like, okay, let's just sell these games again. You know, kind of like they did on the PS3, but let's just sell these games again. Fuck it, right? And they just put these games on Switch or maybe Xbox so they find it valuable or PC. I think they do pretty great. Especially like if you're thinking about how many PlayStation has in their backlog that they could just keep digging up and keep putting out every quarter. It might not be like a difference maker amount of money, but it could just be nice recurrent revenue. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they navigate this. But in the short term, at least, you know, blinders on, it's a win. I think that we're not getting a PlayStation 6 until closer to 2030.
Yeah, selfishly as a gamer, I'm good.
I don't need to spend that money if I don't got it.
I'm good.
All right, let's move a little bit deeper into PlayStation land alongside Nintendo land a little bit here, Cog. It looks like after Xbox has gone to open up the year with their developer direct, we got two more showcases to look forward to. Nate the Hate and Jeff Grubb have teamed up for a Super League. Let's start off with PlayStation's State of Play, which Nate DeHate says this date is accurate. Jeff Grubb was saying that the February State of Play will take place on the week of February 12th. I mean, he said originally February 12th, but he said, just to be safe, I'm going to give you guys the week. But again, Nate DeHate said that this was correct. And meanwhile, on Nate DeHate's own podcast, he mentioned that February 5th is the current expected date for the first Nintendo Direct of the year. And when you really look ahead at Nintendo's calendar, I don't think they have too much teed up.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what they're doing. But Cog, it looks like we're getting 2 showcases and potential back-to-back weeks, which is a bit exciting here. So what do we make of this? What are we looking forward to? What games come to mind for us? I think if PlayStation State of Play goes to open the week, I just want to throw out of here, I think we see Requiem one more time.
Yeah, could do the marketing beat. Yeah, that makes sense. That's right on timing. Is it too early for what's our joint? Soros? Is it too early?
When did I get delayed to?
Yeah, what's our release dates on that? Give me the update on that.
April 30th.
April?
Yeah, April 30th. Yeah, I got to move back a little bit more.
Just a little bit. Okay. I think for me, from a Nintendo standpoint, it's more important because we don't really know what they got lined up this year. Right. As far as I'm concerned, maybe the hardcore Nintendo punching up gang, y'all can tell me. I don't really kind of know their lineup this year. So I want to know like what's the big heavy hitters from Nintendo this year? And then the elephant in the room, since we talk about game services and revenue, is it time for now the dev kits to had come over from Xbox and, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we now going to see more of these ports that we thought we were going to see now mentioned this year as the year for Xbox? Because that would help the numbers. We're all about the services numbers at this point right now.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Switch in particular right now. Pokemon Pocopia is March 5th. I realize now Mario Tennis Fever has a release date too, which I didn't know about, but that's February 12th. So looking ahead, yeah, you really don't have much of a clear idea of what Nintendo is up to.
Yeah.
September is Phantom Blade Zero still, so I think maybe we see that again. I don't know, I feel like I've seen so much of that game. I'm kind of tired of it, you know. I just want to play it. I'm looking at this like upcoming game release calendar. This is the best thing about Game Informer coming back is they always had the best game release calendar.
Yes, the way they aggregate it, I love it.
Yeah, like GameSpot, I tried to use, but GameSpot, I love y'all, but man, get the calendar man on the phone because he's not updating it enough. And then Eurogamer did like a close second to Game Informer. But I'm looking here at like this list and. Yeah, Nintendo's kind of that's exciting because Nintendo then has the opportunity to surprise a little bit.
Yes.
That means we're going to get some weird shit, which can always be fun here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of undated games here. Oh, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is supposed to come out on Switch too. So that'll be interesting. Yeah. Trying to see what else is here. Gothic 1 Remake. That'd be fun to see. Lords of the Fallen 2. That would be interesting. Yeah. Marvel Token doesn't have a release date. I feel like that fighting game might get a nice window. That would make a lot of sense for State of Play. Yeah, man. Okay, it's an exciting time.
It's exciting because Nintendo always keeps stuff in the cut. Like they got stuff. It's just
they have the most hype word announcements. I always remember like getting up out of my seat when they announced the KOTOR 2 Switch word, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing it!"
Let's go.
All right, Cog. Well, we'll see in a little bit of time what we're going to get for the State of Play and Nintendo Direct. Up next, as we talked about last week with Gene, Ubisoft underwent a pretty significant project purge. A lot of games canceled, some delayed. Studios, unfortunately, shut down, and Ubisoft reallocating all of their studios into a bunch of creative houses with their main IP like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry being under Vantage Studios, which is practically owned by Tencent. Now, Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson has an interesting report here because among all of the cancellations that happened, like the supposedly ready to release Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, you'd think a game that's been in development since 2008 with its reveal would, make that cancellation cut. Like that would probably be like, hey, we tried. Well, Beyond Good and Evil 2, according to Tom Henderson, has survived Ubisoft's latest round of project cancellations. It currently holds the record for longest in development title ever, which is as currently set at 17 years, 7 months, and 22 days. However, the current version of the game has been in development since around 2017, which means it's still a good 8 to 9 years of development. So even the smallest number for this game is still ridiculous, dude. Oh, no. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that is the report. And then they got an update from Ubisoft themselves, who confirmed that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in active development. They say it remains a priority for us in the context of our strategy centered around open world adventures. So Ubisoft did confirm this information. But here's the crazy part about all this. Let's read this quote. According to sources, constant changes, pushbacks, and a lengthy development time have likely cost Ubisoft $500+ million in development costs. But at least for the time being, Ubisoft feels like its cost is justified. Now, when I read all of this, Cog, you know, I had a friend message me this, and they had a great prediction that, I mean, I don't know if it'll pan out this way, but the only way you can really justify this is if they're about to make the next GTA style game, like a game that can take over and be that big and be that unbelievable and be that exciting. I don't know if Beyond Good and Evil 2 can ever reach that level, Cog, but that's the only way. Like, what else could they be doing? Like making something that big for that long, you know, because it's so funny. The first Beyond Good and Evil was like a small, linear, little beat 'em up game, apparently really great. I haven't played it yet because I've been waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2 to be confirmed, where I'm like, okay, I'm on the hook now. But apparently the story ends in like a very conclusive manner where there was never like a sequel, right? So when you see this, Cog, $500 million down the tube, is the sunk cost fallacy real here or not?
This is strange to me because we just did a whole State of Ubisoft plug, you know, on Lords After Dark on Insider Gaming with Tom Henderson. You know what I'm saying? So go check it out on the Insider Gaming app. Plug. But no, look, one of the discussions we had is obviously one, what Ubisoft means to us. Two, then we're breaking down, remember they split up into all these creative houses and then Vantage, right? And then we looked at it like, yo, Vantage is what Tencent values. That as far as like, these are the sure things that you have. Then you got to look at the creative houses, Maddie. Like, the classifications for some of these games were wild to me. I believe they had Splinter Cell in almost like a live service pocket.
Yeah. Like
they had an explanation of what each house meant. And Splinter Cell was in, and I'm like, oh, you're not doing no single player. So to your point, for them to have this amount of sunk costs into this game, they've got to have some form of a big plan, huge kind of a, you know, I don't know what to call it, like GTA, but, you know, some form of an engagement whore that they figure you gonna live in this, you gonna do this. So I'm surprised it made the, bro, we were lambasting the Prince of Persia thing because it's like, bro, it's a remake. Like all you had to do, what could have been so bad that y'all was like, nah, son. Scrap that. Like that's like you would think it's low lift, right? So yeah, man. Like I'm very concerned for them. I don't like, you know, I feel like Yves Guillemot and that family are holding on for as much as they can for dear life. That's the vibe I got, and like, I just look at the classifications, the way they do things. I just feel like there is a clear ranking and pecking order. And now everybody's getting a new number of which house you go report to as far as to put your game out. And I think that a lot of just the engagement and the things that really sell the most are going to be prioritized. So to Beyond Good and Evil's credit, they clearly see something in you that they feel, hey, this is worth that investment, and keep trudging on, because that is a lot of money in years.
They have to accept that it's not going to be made back, right? Like there's something to this. I don't know if it's like sort of how EA just keeps BioWare around no matter what, where it's like, we just can't suffer this very specific optical loss. Like if we cancel Beyond Good and Evil 2, nothing in this building has hope, right?
I'm still surprised though, because it's like, let's be real. It ain't that, you know, that name don't ring bell to me. What did the first
I don't hear that and go, oh, that one.
Yo,
right?
There's no way they gonna get rid of that. Like I don't. Sorry, Realm of the Dukes. Y'all tell me I'm not a Beyond and Good Evil.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That it don't sound nothing to me that I'm like, yeah, we waiting
this way, right? Because again, you got to think like GTA to develop to understand this level of development time, right? If I go out on the streets and I say to someone like, yo, you know GTA, guarantee answer is like, yeah. I'm like, yo, Beyond Good and Evil too. What the fuck is that?
Exactly. Like this would make sense to me. Let's just say that they were the stewards of Saints Row. And you go, okay, they own Saints Row. They look at that as their GTA clone or whatever. I know they got the crew in their mind. I mean, I'm not a crew fan. They're like, yo, we see Forza Horizon potential. We could do that too. You know what I'm saying? We got one of those, right? I can see them.
Yeah, we got one of those.
You throw Beyond Good and Evil out in the street, I'm like, nobody. You ask 10 people, I'm like, who's really clamoring? I'm very curious about this. I know it may be a cult classic. I know it may be reviewed well and people love it, but not to the masses level. That's why I'm really surprised that this gets to survive. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Excited to see whatever that may be. Maybe they're the ones who are waiting for that next generation of consoles, and then they saw this news about PlayStation 6 and went, shucks, you know, like you have to wait another 5 years.
Shout out to that team. At least, look, at the end of the day, from a pure humane standpoint, I like that they get to exist, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we seeing people just get shut off projects, and it's rough right now in this industry. So
100%. This next one, selfish pick by me, I'm not going to lie, but it felt like validation because I talked about this a little bit in our experience doing our first round of real pitching and talking to indie publishers a bit. And this actually comes from an indie publisher that we did pitch. They rejected us. So I'm going to cover them here now. But I wanted to talk about this a little bit because what this indie publisher says, I think rang really true in my soul for what I felt, you know, when going through that process. And I thought it'd be interesting context from someone in a company that's been there, done that, published great games, right? So I'm going to read this whole article here. This comes from PC Gamer, and it's titled, Indie Devs Should Avoid Most Indie Publishers, says Manor Lord's indie publisher Hooded Horse. The vast majority of indie publishers are predatory and opportunistic. And again, I just thought this was fascinating coming from an indie publisher and not really you'll see in this article as I read through it, not really like hyping themselves up like that. That's why I thought it was a level of sincerity here. And again, I have no relationship with this company. So I wanted to read this. They say from Manor Lords to Against the Storm to Terra Invicta, indie publisher Hooded Horse has enjoyed an incredible run since it was founded in 2019. With a bunch of big successes under its belt, you might expect CEO Tim Bender to be looking to expand, swallowing up more and more indie games to increase his chances of finding another hit. But not only is he completely disinterested in publishing more than around 10 games a year, focusing on stability over growth, his advice to indie developers is to avoid indie publishers entirely. Wow. He says, people can hate me for this if they want, but most indie publishers are not people indie developers should work with. The vast majority of indie publishers in their whole structure are predatory and opportunistic. Wow. He continues on saying this could all be a cunning ploy, the article continues on to say this could all be a cunning ploy to stick it to the competition, but Hooded Horse isn't exactly struggling to find developers to sign. Bender's warning to devs is also consistent with the rest of his publishing philosophy, where ethical treatment of developers is critical. We want to be a positive influence, he says, as evidenced by his championing of fair contracts where developers don't need to wait for their publisher to recoup their costs. This is something I'll talk about in a little bit here. They're looking to sign a bunch of games, he continues, to invest in the ones that are otherwise successful, make them bigger, ignore and drop, basically abandon the ones that aren't while sucking up whatever they can through recoup. They're not particularly competent either. Most indie publishers, they don't really add a lot. Bender believes that an indie publisher who uses self-publishing resources like Simon Carlos's Game Discover Co. or Chris Zukowski's How to Market a Game can self-publish better than 95% of indie publishers. Devs are the best people to champion and sell their games. They will know their game, they'll structure it right, they'll actually care about it. The vast majority of indie developers should be self-publishing rather than working with indie publishers. He also recommends sites like Gamealytic, a database designed for devs and market researchers that provide estimates on sales, player numbers, and revenue. He says you can type any publisher's name in there, pull up their portfolio, sort by release date, and see its release schedule. Like, oh, this indie publisher released 6 games a month and everything they made had about $1,000 to $2,000. Then, okay, I know how these people are oriented. Just in general, you should always research the track record of the publishers. It wasn't all that long ago that nobody would even need to say indie devs should self-publish, because that was the very definition of an indie developer. But now you've got countless companies invested in discovering the next viral indie game, promising marketing and investment in the hopes of getting something like Manor Lords. And obviously that can be incredibly beneficial, at least if the developer and publisher are aligned. Along with Hooded Horse, the likes of Raw Fury and Fellow Traveler spring to mind, but they exist alongside plenty more mercenary outfits. He says you really have to research and be careful. And the truth is, if you're in doubt, self-publish. That's really what it comes down to, because it's very viable to self-publish these days. Oh. And I just thought it was a really powerful read. I'm not going to lie, because it's coming from an indie publisher who's not trying to lift up, in my opinion, their own brand here. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're gobbling up a ton of companies back to back to back, or gobbling up a ton of games back to back to back. They're relatively new and on the market, and kind of just speaking from the soul a bit and saying, like, I'm sorry if you don't like it, but like most indie devs should avoid most indie publishers. And in my experience, like even the ones like we pitched to a sea of indie publishers, and a lot of them were like instant rejections, but a decent amount of them led to conversations. 2 of them in particular led to really deep conversations. One was about the green light us. The reason they didn't is their reasoning was like, we want to see how you get on your own for a little bit longer. And that is basically code for, we want to just cut the cost even more than what we normally would to invest into you, because we think we can gain even more. And that to me is code for, I don't want to work with you, because you did not find enough value in what was there to invest when the time was there to invest. So now we're on our own. We're like handling it on our own. Right. And I just thought, again, that this read was so important for a number of reasons, because I've heard other indie devs talk a bit about like splits and how sometimes even getting that green light, like, we'll fund you. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten to that point, but I've heard from indie devs I've spoken to is they'll come to you and be like, we're going to like give you like 30% after we recoup or something like that. Like, you don't even get the money big time. So that's why some of these developers struggle, is because it's a predatory environment, because it is so hard to get the green light for that extra funding. And it's not about, as I said, like helping a game get across the line and having enough earnings. Like, okay, this is good. Mm-hmm. It's about the Bellatra style games. Like, you're $100K, $200K, $300K to fund, and we're going to make like $10 million off of you. And that's that boom or bust mentality that's made its way into indie development, in my opinion. And so I just find it like kind of validating to see that, because I felt it. I spoke about it a little bit, where I was like, there's just some, not all indie publishers, like Hooded Horse was very communicative with us, which is something you don't even get often with like pitches. Most times it'll be an automated message. We had 2 AI prompted messages that were kind of like irritating. We're like, really, man? Like, it's fine. You don't like the game. That's cool. But like AI prompted. And that's as someone who has their foot in the door, right? The reason I talk about this is I hope it doesn't come across the way it's like a sensitivity about our own project. Like, I feel very good about where we're at. It's a sensitivity for the people who are not like me and are not known at all, right? So like, I'm stepping in there being like, yeah, I got a platform and an audience. Like, this is a great launch pad, because if they really like the game, that's like built-in visibility. Like, that's all that is. Like, as people can see it, that's really half the battle. It's just seeing the game. And it's like, even I'm still fighting, right? And I'm not saying even I'm like, me. Yeah, I don't mean it like that. I'm saying like, imagine being a developer who is like just really passionate, very small teams, scratching and clawing by. They finally get to a point where they can pitch something. They don't have their foot in the door at all. They just have like a cool game, a cool vision. And the only publisher that gets back to them is one with like a shit offer, right? Like, that's the kind of world a lot of these indie devs are living in. It's like, that's why you're seeing people take epic game deals, because it's just like, well, I need the money. And usually it's blood money is what I call it. It's like not that good money. So where you can feel kind of guilt-free for taking it, or like, oh, this will uplift the project. Not that those partnerships don't exist, that's not what I'm trying to convey here, but more so that I think the indie community rightfully gets idolized because the developers within it are incredible and hardworking. Our boss happens to be a part of the indie community and works hard, right? So alongside Barry and their team at Lily Mo. So, when I look at this sort of stuff, like I think we forget the publisher part of things. It's not all sunshine and roses over there. So I'm curious as to your thoughts, Cog. I apologize about Forrest, who has been yapping the whole damn time.
Forrest
so I have wireless headphones. Well, shut his ass up real quick. I want to hear what you have to say about this. So please fire away.
Shout out to Forrest. He ain't no different than the cops and the fire department that was going on through me. But look, I'm glad you brought this to my attention because, we under the impression that, from an indie standpoint, you want to get that publisher, you want to get that deal, you want to get that backing, you want to get that security. And to see this article described and Bender described the climate in this way as people being predatory and, saying self-publish is the way to go is very eye-opening because it just goes to show you that, one, having that education about your product and knowing your product and pitching your product still holds more value than, these publishers that, let's be honest, the vibe I'm getting at is being predatory towards virality and no one wanting to take that risk because it's like, I got to recruit and I want to put this amount of investment and guarantee that I got the next, ball pit or, or blueprints or whatever these Hubelatro, these games are. Thinking like Vampire Survivors and stuff like that. Again, it's really hard to kind of hit that home run in a sea of so much competition in market space. And what publishers seem to be doing now, it's like, we're not willing to fund. We're not willing to take that risk unless you can guarantee, that hit. And that's frustrating. That to me stifles creativity also too, because it's like if everyone is just kind of screaming and searching, look at the love of that. There we go. Screaming and searching for virality, right? How do you get to stand out in something like that, right? It's really difficult. And this really surprised, the word predatory really resonated with me. Like it said, you are better off to do this on your own. So maybe you start small. Maybe you're just one platform and, you try to get this thing off the ground. But man, shout out to him because he could have easily turned this into a commercial for his service. Let's be honest, right? He could have easily said, hey, we here at such and such, we don't do these things. We'll take care of you and make that a pitch. But what I love about what he said is when you recommend a site like Game Analytic and telling you the tools and stuff to do to get the information for yourself and really also do the research on these publishers and see what they're doing. That's huge. It's one thing to recommend yourself. It's another thing to provide people coming to you help that may not involve you yourself. And I think that is actually honorable. So yeah, I'm glad you brought this to my attention. This is eye-opening. As a person who loves indie games, who loves the fight, who loves to see that creation process and seeing them trying to, pitch and get their thing through the door and to see how much harder it is these days, this is eye-opening.
Yeah. Like another experience I had was like, someone saying like, once you finish development, like we can help you market it. And I'm like, the reason we were pitching is because we wanted help on development so I could get everyone full time because I don't have the money to do that. So me footing that bill only for you to market it and take a big chunk of change out of something we made does not work. It's like the type of deals you'll get thrown your way. I like, okay, if I get to the finish line, they can help us go to market. And no doubt, like just helping go to market from what I've heard and seen and read is helpful. Like there is help to it, no doubt about it. But yeah, dude, it's just, it's sad to see. It's just, I want perspective for those out there who listen. Removing my experience from it entirely, I still found it very, very valuable words there that should be considered because we love indie games. And we again, I think it's the indie developers who are the real champions, the real hero.
They're driving the industry. And then everyone else, once they catch the wave, then they start trend chasing. So I agree.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of indie games, there's one I wanted to highlight here. It's from another content creator, and it's Carnage, who's very well known and respected around the gaming industry. And he had shown off this game multiple times, but this is like the official big reveal with a date and everything like that. And it's called Emberville. And IGN's Ryan McCaffrey, Lord Duke, describes it as Diablo Light meets Stardew Valley. And he says this is a good starting point in mind for Emberville, the just announced pixel art action RPG from developer Cygnus Cross. It features Doug Cockle from the Witcher series and Alex Jordan.
Oh,
as your man. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. As voice actors. And Alex Jordan's actually voice directing, which I thought was pretty cool to see. And it's due to release for PC into early access on Steam summer 2026. They say Emberville aims to go beyond the conventional expectations of similar farm and fight games with a simple yet deep combat system, inherited skill leveling system, and challenging boss fights, according to the development team. Customization is a big focus for gameplay with cross-class combat skills, a weapon combo system, and a creative area that allows players to build, decorate, and customize their procedurally generated game world, all promised. So it looks awesome. Like, shout out to Carnage for like putting his money where his mouth is as someone who's in like that same kind of fight right now. Like, it's just awesome to see. But this game really does look great. Like, as the trailer went on more and more, it was awesome to see. And honestly, like, just seeing the reception to the game on Twitter was like super inspiring and motivating, because like, I kid you not, every day I dream of that reveal day, and I have nightmares about that reveal day. I'm like, who's going to show up? What are they going to say? But like, who's going to show up and what are they going to say? And so I just thought this was really awesome to see. I'm glad people are receiving it well. It looks great, sounds great. Trailer's out. If people want to check it out again, it's called Emberville. I think when I watched Carnage's video on his like in progress development, he said he's co-creative director. Ooh. So he's in there. He's in the thick of things, and it's that cool new wave of like a lot of content creators are starting to make games, which I think is awesome. So, Cog, is this your first time seeing it? What are your thoughts on Emberville?
It looks cool, man. It looks cool. Diablo meets a little Stardew. Like, let's go for it. And then, to get that type of talent, voice acting talent, it's actually surprising. And the fact that it's fully voice action, I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't expect that, that kind of thing. But yeah, it looks cool, man. This is my first time seeing it. I love the art style. I like what they're trying to do. I need to do more research and see more of it.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. This next one, we're back in the world of AAA. BioWare, they're quietly hiring for Mass Effect. Just a little footnote here, really. I don't know if I have too much to say about this, but we have a new senior role, Mike Gamble wrote on social media, where basically they're going to be involved in Mass Effect 5's creative leadership, studio teams, and internal and external partners to champion the game's vision and ensure its execution at the highest quality bar. So, I mean, the news here really is BioWare's hiring. BioWare's hiring, man. Like, somehow they are getting money in to scale up. How about that? Cog, your thoughts that BioWare is quietly starting to rehire?
Gamble's excited. I'm excited. Gamble's like, yo, this role is dope. You're going to do some cool things with me. Yeah. Hey, let's go. Yeah, we want that Mass Effect 5. Yeah, I like Gamble. Now, this is dope. Obviously, again, signs of life. We like to see that, especially on the pulse of games that we care about. Got my State of Decay news. Get a little Mass Effect 5 news. Mm-hmm. Let's go, man. Especially with how everything that we know in a post-Veilguard world, right? Mm-hmm. Anything type of news and hiring is always a good thing.
Hell yeah. Cog, this next one, it goes straight to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Little bit of selfishness rounding out this year news cycle. Cog, Dragon Ball Age 1000 got announced. This is the newest console Dragon Ball game. It was announced at the 40th anniversary for the Dragon Ball brand, right? And rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. They were celebrating him quite well, and he was heavily involved in this game. It was a teaser trailer that Bandai debuted, and kind of part of the fun here is not really knowing what it is, but I want to talk about that a little bit here. We have a write-in here from Monster Pontes 93. Ricky Pontes, shout out to you. I knew Ricky was going to write in about this, dude. I knew Ricky was going to be on this. He says, "Hey, Duke boys, Maddie, my write-in is simple. I tagged you on Discord and got nothing. I'm sorry." He said, "And so I am now here reaching out to you. Sorry, Cog, we're getting nerdy with this one.
Go for
Dragon Ball Age 1000, new project/video game in the DB universe, a super remake, which was also kind of weird, but the rumor was true, I guess. But most importantly, we're finally getting the Moro arc, which will eventually lead to the other DBS arcs in the anime, finally, after 8 years of waiting. Tell me, my Dragon Ball brother, what are your thoughts? Also, I loved your retrospective content on Retro Rebound about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It inspired me to chip away at the DLC and finally jump into Sparking Zero. Excellent. Ooh. DB Kakarot, dude, not going to front, some of the best DLC in gaming. Like that game came out in 2020. It's a single player RPG, and they still give it like single player DLC to this day. It's crazy, and it's really good. High quality stuff. I really like it. Sparking Zero, I've kind of like softened on a little bit. I'm just like, it's just not as good. Like, it's just, it could have been a lot better, but they're giving it a new wave of DLC this year, so that'll be interesting. Just to quickly answer on Dragon Ball Super coming back, I'm with you, dude. Finally, like I've been waiting forever for them to continue. Like I didn't like this whole what they've been doing. COG is like they finished Super, and then all of a sudden Dragon Ball got in its bougie movie phase, and I just didn't know what was going on here. Like all we were doing were big flicks in the cinema. And I'm like, Dragon Ball was weekly TV, dude. What are we doing here? And I thought for some reason the story had stopped, but if you look at like the chapters of the manga, like we were barely into Dragon Ball Super at all, but they started doing Broly, which was a whole movie, and Broly was amazing. That's still like my favorite anime movie. The fights in that movie are incredible. So good. Dragon Ball Superhero was another one. Great movie, but I'm like, where's the show at? We want more recurrent Dragon Ball.
Right.
So now they're bringing that back. They're remaking parts of it too. Like they showed like a remade scene of God of Destruction, which is when Beerus is introduced. I mean, it looks amazing, but it's like kind of crazy that they're also doing this. Like, I didn't think the animation was that bad where they need to remake it. But I mean, the early episodes of Dragon Ball Super did get like hit pretty hard by a lot of their fans saying like, this animation's unacceptable. I think it was like episode 5 in particular.
I like when they get bougie.
I mean, I agree. There was like one episode, I think it was episode 5 or something like that. It was an early episode that like had really bad animation. And I get it, but like the show as a whole, like, I even look at what they're doing with Dragon Ball Daima. I'm like, it's not like they've moved this needle forward where I'm like, oh yeah, go back and do that. I'm like, why not? If you're going to remake anything, remake DBZ, I guess. But I'm just happy they're finally moving forward with the Moro arc. Now onto this game, one that really everyone came here to hear me talk about. So apparently there was a game called Dragon Ball Online. This is like an MMO-like game. And it was also set 1,000 years in the far future after everything that had happened in the Dragon Ball world that we know about, you know, everything with Goku and Vegeta, long distant memory here. That was what the Dragon Ball MMO was about here. They said when describing this game during the presentation, the Dragon Ball Age 1000 was going to be like, you know, Goku and Vegeta have already done their thing. This is way in the future. So a lot of people are looking at this thinking like, oh shit, they're going to do another Dragon Ball MMO because they keep talking about this has been in development for like 7 years, 8 years now. And Akira Toriyama was heavily involved and he made a lot of new original characters for it. So I can't say I'm excited, Ricky, to answer your question. What I can say is I'm very interested in more than past Dragon Ball projects. Like I like that this is going to be something new. It's the way I felt when I'll walk you through this a little bit more.
All right, break it down.
For a long while, us Dragon Ball fans, all we got was the rewatch of DBZ, right? Like here's another game of the DBZ story and nothing really changed, dude. We just like these characters a lot.
Right. We love the story.
But I know this story like probably better than any other story in media. I have seen DBZ's story an nauseating amount of times. Again, we just got Kakarot in 2020. Like we're not that far off from getting it in another light, but like this time it's beautifully animated. So it's different, right? Anyway, we see this story a million times here. The first time where I think Dragon Ball fans all had a collective like, oh, this is new, was Dragon Ball Xenoverse in 2014.
Oh, I remember that one. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That one played with the timeline a little bit more. So the events, they played with it in an interesting way. So the events, the major events that you knew about, like Raditz invading Earth, could go differently. And there were different like little conditions within each mission that would have alternate endings. And it was kind of a loot driven game. And so you were able to like get all the different Dragon Ball characters, super attacks and combos. Awesome game. And Xenoverse 2, which came out in 2017, I think, is still getting supported to this day. Everyone's wondering where Xenoverse 3 is, but still nothing. So that was the last time I can think of, or in the Dragon Ball universe, we got something like new, original, rethinking things. This is the Dragon Ball I've been looking for. Like, okay, in the future, this has potential. Again, what we saw in the trailer was a complete teaser. Like you really don't get a feel of what the gameplay is.
Right.
You can see like the history of Dragon Ball. Like you see Goku in the eye of this character. You're like, are you a descendant of him? I don't know.
Right.
Because
when
again,
I saw the silhouette. Like, so is he?
Yeah.
Is he still part of like?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the idea, because in this Dragon Ball Online game, like apparently Super Saiyans are like not mass produced, but there were a lot more of them. They weren't as rare of a breed. So I think the idea is like Super Saiyans are like now all on Earth. That's probably where they're going to go with it. But yeah, like I think that's what it's going to end up being, is like this Dragon Ball like MMO. And I think that could be kind of cool if done well. So yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for a nice new MMO to dive into. I feel like if it is an MMORPG, this could be really, really exciting, since I don't know, man. The space is just kind of blah right now, and that even Final Fantasy 14's kind of fallen off a little bit. Like the infatuation, the adoration with this new era, once they had their kind of Avengers Endgame moment, kind of just like, all right, now what? Like,
right,
WoW's doing its thing. It's still chugging along. RuneScape's still doing a pretty good job, it seems, but like, it hasn't been new blood. New World just got shut down. So if this actually is a big MMO, I think that could be really cool. So I'm interested to see what this can become.
Yeah, no, I'll just add in with my casual commentary.
Please.
No, it looks cool from the standpoint of two things. One, I know how much Toriyama means to you guys, and I as the anime slanderer, I will never slander that man. That man is responsible for so many things. His designs are amazing. So if this was one of his later creations before he passed, that's awesome to honor that, right? And then, like to see that, because I'm looking at also the comments of the video, and people are really hyped. So I think what you said is correct, which is that people need this new, fresh take in the future because the stories have been retold so many times already. Yeah, you've done that. So now let's see what this is, kind of thing. I like the little cell shading. We still don't know what the gameplay loop is, kind of thing. But if they're going to do some descendants of the, what you call them?
Super Saiyans.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, you had it. There you go. I thought you were going to hit me with, like broccoli or whatever you call them.
Whatever the sorcerer guys with their big 80s hair and the yellow. I know what to say it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so, it is what it is now. But look, I like when you try to do something different and put a new spin in the future and then kind of take the universe somewhere else. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's banned down Namco. So for the most part, you got a chance that it's going to be hopefully quality, right?
No, 100%. I mean, I think Bandai has been a really good publisher. When I think about it, there's just some of their anime games, man. Just some of them, man. I always go back to Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. I'm like, how'd that game ever exist? Like, it's so fucking bad, dude.
It's in the cash-in phase. You know what I'm saying?
They're about to get a nice test in about a little bit more than a week. They're doing a new My Hero game, and it's like, is that going to be any good? I hope so. I still have to finish My Hero. I'm on like the end of season 6 right now. It's so good. Oh my god,
what
so
they
good.
Got me doing right now? I'm in solo leveling. I'm like 6 episodes.
Oh,
they got me. I do like it.
Low leveling, yeah. See, that's like an anime because it's based around a video game.
Yeah, I was like, all right, y'all found one for me. This is cool. Let me see where he goes with it. Yeah, it's crazy. I must think they love my reactions to this one.
Yeah, I love solo leveling. That's a good pick. All right, Cog. Let's round this out with some Resident Evil. So Requiem previews went live. With that new information, interviews were done. Game Informer spoke with Capcom about a widely speculated feature that could be in Resident Evil Requiem. That was an open world. Would they do this? They have set the record straight. Here's the quote from IGN. The development team did want to make one point clear. They've seen some speculation on whether there are any open world elements in this game, and they just want to set the record straight that this isn't an open world game. The main concept behind this game is combining the very different gameplay of Grace and Leon into a cohesive package, and having those two gameplays represent the Resident Evil series. I think when you play this game, you realize that, or you will find as well that the development team picked the best approach to do this, end quote. In other words, you should expect from this game is Grace and Leon portions, but not an open world. Fine by me, dude. I saw people getting hyped at the idea of an open world Resident Evil game, and I think that could be cool because originally this was, I think, what a Resident Evil game was supposed to be. Like an open world Raccoon City sounds great, but I'm, as I'll talk about a little bit, on this Resident Evil pilgrimage, and I love just seeing like perfectly handcrafted sections of Raccoon City, not like a holistic one. So I saw this and went, good. I anticipate there will be big open sections. Like in Resident Evil 4 Remake, like Leon gets on the boat and like you get to ride around and make some pit stops all around it. Like that stuff, I have no doubt they'll do something like that. That's fine with me. That kind of opening it up a little bit is cool. Resident Evil Requiem being like full open world though, it's an interesting concept at some point. But as I've been playing more Resident Evil, I'm like, no, I think they made the right choice. I think this game's gonna be like an all-timer. Requiem. Like I really like the way they are meshing the two gameplay styles already. I'm like, it's perfect. That is perfect. Like that tension and release. Like Leon kicking the shit out of things makes sense for his character. Grace being in a survival horror situation makes sense for her character. Leon being back is like game of the year status already. This story is so shrouded with mystery. It's the only thing that could tip me one way or the other, because we really don't know. All we know is it's like, yeah, this is like after the events of RE6 for Leon. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, are we, because Resident Evil 8 like concludes the winter story. So it's like, and it leaves with some interesting breadcrumbs on like the BSAA and Chris Redfield. And you're like, what's going on, man? And how does that lead into 9? Or are we kind of doing what like Resident Evil's done before, where like for example, Resident Evil 4 is like Leon all around his story, and then 5 is like Chris Redfield, and it's not real. These two aren't connected at all. So I'm going through it all out of safety at this point. Yeah. That's what I'll talk about. Like I finished Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm going into 3. I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking play all these games. I don't give a shit. Dude. I'm just gonna be totally like a wizard at this franchise by the time Requiem comes out. But I cannot wait. So very, very, very excited for this one, Cog.
Yes. No, I gotta just add in. I'm with you. I'll be honest, when you were talking to me about Resident Evil Requiem prior, again, I saw this game behind closed doors. It looked amazing. One of the best things for me is when they announced, oh, we have third person view. I said, okay, that's a huge deal. Not that first person sucked. It's just that I love the fact that they had the option. You throw Leon in it, I'm like, okay, you got my attention. But I'll be honest, I was under the impression that this was going to be open world and they were going to do all this thing. And I'll be honest, that kind of cooled me on it. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. You say now it's not. I have more of my attention. I like more of that linear focus and more of the horror, survival horror and emotional beat. And that's what I really wanted. And obviously, when I get into what I'm playing, I'm going to kind of talk about that with what one game did versus what the sequel is doing. And that's where I'm at right now. And again, not saying that open world games are bad. I'm not. I just personally have fatigue, and I don't feel that it's always just throw more content makes it better kind of thing. I want more of a tight-knit story. So I'm actually now, I'm like, all right, I got to get in on this on day one with them. I see you. I see does everybody getting their Requiem. All right. This now sells me more to not miss the moment when it happens.
You shouldn't. I think out of everything coming out in the first quarter of the year, this looks by and large the best.
Bro, I saw this game. We were in the theater with Capcom Showcase. People were like standing ovation clapping when they pulled back, because we were like, oh my God, this looks amazing. When they pulled back and showed, because they hid third person mode through the whole demonstration. Yeah. We were like, hey, yo. People were literally standing up clapping. I'm like, okay, they back. Capcom is on it, man.
I can't wait, bro. I'm so excited. All right. Let's round out with a little more Resident Evil. This one, Cog, is for the Dreamcast era. Code Veronica Remake. According to Nate the Hate, he says that this is deep in development. It's being remade, and it's targeting the release of the first half of 2027. How does that make you feel, my friend?
Very good. I need to revisit this one. It's been so long. I played it, I beat it, but it was such a graphical jump for its time. And it's like, I need a refresh course. Like I don't remember a lot of the things now. So it's like, yeah, man, Code Veronica was, again, for Dreamcast owners, this was a huge deal to get a Resident Evil on a Sega platform, almost exclusive for its time. It did come to other platforms eventually, but yeah, man, you got to get Claire in there, see what's going on with old girl. This is one of those. So I want to revisit this one. This was a very transitionary part where we got a next generation take on it, and it was done really well.
Is it like, I'm part of my ignorance, because this is one I know nothing about. I just know fans really want this to come back. Is it like traditional Resident Evil? Like, why do people love it so much, I guess is my question.
To be honest, I'm gonna be fair to it. It is traditional, but the jump is so large from how it went from 3 and what was it, Nemesis and all that stuff. And that was cool, don't get me wrong. But we like, oh my God, look at how amazing it is, how amazing it plays and controls. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That was one of the things. But again, it's been so long, I need to revisit it. Like, I don't remember. I beat this game, but I don't remember it. That's so long ago.
It's one of those. Like, you just have the memory of enjoying it.
Exactly. I'm like, damn, I don't remember things now. Thanks.
I feel you. All right. I'm excited to play. I'm debating if I want to see if like I cool off after Requiem. I think Requiem should be the end of my Resident Evil journey, but because they're like the ones I'm skipping right now are like Revelations 1 to am I going to play like Code Veronica just for the funsies?
Right.
Like that sort of shit. So I'm debating when I'll get to that, but we'll see. The Resident Evil pilgrimage has been going on strong, but I'm excited that there's more on the corner. They are firing on all fucking cylinders at Capcom, bro. Cog, the news is over for a little bit. Let's talk a bit about what we are playing. What are you gaming on, sir? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so obviously doing my Final Fantasy, but before we get into that, it's a game that's been highly talked about, let's just say.
Hi, you say?
Hi. And a lot of people have been very guarded about said game. So I said, look, I really don't have a dog in this fight. I really don't care about this game, but I could not resist.
Sure.
I was like, it's too much discourse about this game.
You're doing your job, man. Gotta see.
Exactly. I gotta see. So obviously the game in question is High Guard. Obviously we know the history. We know the whole, how it was revealed at the Game Awards. And my only issue with at the time was I thought it looked okay. I didn't like the main character design, but I said, from a gameplay standpoint, it looked interesting. But I think we all agree it being in the just one more thing spot by Jeff was a disservice to the team, unfortunately. And we see the results. Jeff's been popping off on this game like, yo, y'all gonna see when it drops. I want that
apologizing to me. Yeah.
He's been popping up, and I've been seeing people clap back. Then it brought up a discussion in reference to, influencer access. That's been a thing.
Sure.
It being a free-to-play game. My only issue probably was you would think they would want like an open beta, public open beta to kind of really stress servers to see what's that about. I thought that was interesting. I thought the other interesting, remember we got no marketing from the game, the team themselves, the developer themselves. So it brought up a question of like, did this backfire? Is it a situation where all engagement, all, publicity is good publicity? So I'm now thoroughly, and I'm seeing sides being taken on this game.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I gotta know. I couldn't keep my curiosity couldn't contain this. I threw it up. So right off the bat, Maddie, I throw this game on, I go right into the tutorial, and no lie, within 5 minutes, the game glitched and I couldn't do the shooting training mechanic. There were no dummy. Apparently, the game's telling me to go somewhere, and I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to go? And then what I realized, I had to research online what's supposed to happen here. And it was supposed to be training dummies as soon as you get the gun to shoot the dummies. That never happened for me. 2 times.
Oh, 2 times? Whoa.
2 times. So I'm like, we're not off to a good start. I can't get through the training tutorial because of mind you, I'm playing with the Xbox console.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. If it's a console thing, I'm like, I'm about to uninstall this. I can't even get through the training. Like, really? So I said, Cog, let me wait. Let me chill. Calm down. YouTube training video. Get out the pit. There goes the thing. Restarted the game one more time. I said, if it don't work after this, I'm done. And then it did work. All right, cool. So you got your basic mechanics. You're rewarding. You got your gun play. You got your special ability. And then I saw like almost like a Rainbow Six Siege kind of mechanic where it's kind of like reinforcing walls, breaking walls, stuff like that. So they get
that's what it reminded me of. I was like, where is this from? Yeah,
where it's like, building up the thing, and they got the the melee thing, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm getting the feel of it. All right. Another thing right off the back, I noticed I was a little unimpressed graphically. I thought it would be more of a looker. It felt very almost like Xbox 360 energy, like from the engine, you know what I'm saying? Kind of based on the team and what again, maybe on PC, you could tell me it looks phenomenal.
It depends what looks is. Like, are we talking like technicality, sure, like appeal and character, not a different story. I thought it looked all right on PC personally.
Yeah, from a Fidelity standpoint, I just like, it ain't nothing really too special. I thought the voice acting for the little voice shop, the guy was cool. Now, I will say this. I do like where they got me is, I'm a lord. So you're going to put me high guard and warden and, breach the defenses. And then, okay, I'll give you a little bit more leeway because you're in this kind of medieval fantasy time thing that I like. Yeah. And then I start the game, start my match. I can play with me. There seems to be like 3 phases, which is kind of like the first phase, reinforcement, go out, find weapons, go get armor, do all this stuff, right? shout out to the horseback, double tap A, get your little horse sword. All right, okay, cool. So we rock it. And then it's like, okay, there's the other mechanic where it's like find the Deathstroke or whatever this sword is to initiate.
Or the shield breaker.
The shield breaker, there you go. To initiate, because it's like you got your base, they got their base, but there's this force field around for those who have not played this. And you need this shield breaker thing so that you can penetrate one aspect of the base, and then it comes through with the big ramming mechanism to kind of thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. I kind of like what you're doing. All right, cool. So we did that. And then that phase then consists of, all right, you're only on defense, defending your base, worrying about these generators, worrying about this central point, or you're on offense trying to see. So I'm in my, seize them. I'm like, okay, I'm having fun. All right. So I go front. I'm like, all right, cool. Then whether you fail or not, there's this mechanic where it kind of resets, and then it's like back out into the open and get the shield breaker again and all that kind of stuff. So the first match I thought was okay. The characters, they had the main. I do not like the main character. So he just looks very generic to me.
John Highguard?
No, I'm not a fan of John Highguard. I will say the character that I like, they had you do who had like the little Wolverine attack and all that. The guy that they let you play in the tutorial. He was cool. I like the There's a chick that she's like a shaman or something, and she's got these little dolls.
Her name's Mara. I don't know why. Two characters' names stuck with me. Mara and Scarlet. Scarlet's the one like the hood.
The one that I got is like she's got like almost like a one of them folklore kind of
I think it was Mara. I think that's
her. So I had her. She was cool. The thing I noticed off the back though is like as a Destiny player, right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna give me a special ability. You're gonna give me a super. Bro, these abilities are very weak. Like I'm like, I understand like maybe your design philosophy is gunplay, but if I use this super ability that took a while for it to build up to 100%, and I was literally, there was an airdrop. I'm like, oh, I got the fire dude. I placed it. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, go get the airdrop. I'm about sending this thing on you. Bro, them dudes looked at it, turned around, shot, and killed me. I'm like, what? Like these abilities, like they're very undertuned. I'm just like, what's the purpose then? So you got that. I'm trying to think of anything else stand out. Look, it's just an okay game. It's nothing crazy to me. It's just like, I'm not going to say I didn't have fun. I'm not going to say I don't like the time period, but I will say this. First of all, the 3-on-3, I think is a mistake. It's too big a map. And this should be like Battlefield. Like, at least, 10 on 10, 12 on, like, it should be like teaming with stuff so there's more engagement. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is just like, they're going to have to figure out between the downtime, whether the shield breaker, there's a lot of nothing going on, I would consider, where it's just resource searching and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Is it the worst thing I've ever played? No. Is it the best thing I've ever played? No. It's just there with some cool ideas. And the key to me is going to be this. How quickly do they respond to feedback? Because if they don't, we will forget about this by next week.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I feel like Jeff's situation kind of did them a disservice. Like it got people to the door to know what it's about, right? But now it's like, okay, if you don't address this feedback that people are giving, and now from my understanding, I heard the player count really dropped significantly from its base. And then, I gotta get one criticism though. Did you see the dude with the red jacket that does the flame? The guy with the blonde. Tell me he don't look like he fit at all in this universe, bro. Yeah.
It's so funny. He looks straight up out of Street Fighter.
Yeah, he looked like he's Street Fighter and Fatal Fury. I'm like, these character designs, some of them I was just like, nah. And they got their monetization track ready. They got the suits ready. I was like, oh yeah, I see what y'all doing. But this was on your list of what you played, or?
It was, yeah. I got a couple of write-ins for us. If you want to baton bash to me,
yes, please.
Fill us in here a little bit, because we had one write-in that made me laugh, and then another one that kind of asks us a question here.
Okay.
Morgan Remington is the first one. Just a small tangent from Maddie. Dude, I fell asleep to your Highguard stream and had a dream that you built a retro game store in my small hometown. Yeah. I was incredulous in the dream about this decision, so I decided to walk in, and there you were with a small cardboard box full of random PS2 and GameCube games and a sealed and graded copy of Billy Hatcher for GameCube for $300, as if it was some prized possession. You were amiable enough in the dream, but Maddie, your business sense left something to be desired. With so many empty shelves and the strange insistence that Billy Hatcher was this diamond in the rough, I don't know, man. I think Dream Maddie is in for turbulent waters. I'm somewhat dubious of the success of this retro game store. Keep on keeping on, Dukes, and please don't make hasty business decisions without consulting your friends and personal accountants. So that's how great Highguard is. This is what this guy got out of my stream. Yeah, keep that in mind. Thank you, Morgan, for the write-in. And I'm sorry about I've never played Billy Hatcher, so it truly was all a dream. Now the Juan one right then says, "Hi Dukes, Highguard came out and it did decent Steam numbers on the first day. Not a Concord level failure, but of course with these kinds of live service games, we need to see how the game will do long term. But Dukes, especially Maddie, we all owe Jeff an apology. He was very confident on Twitter over the weekend about this game. What do you think of Highguard? Was Jeff right, or did we have the right to be concerned? Because honestly, it's more like Midgard than Highguard." Man. All right, let's talk about it, guys.
So your thoughts?
I very much align with you. I think anyone saying Concord 2, maybe in how quickly it falls off the rails, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Right. But when we're talking game, feel, play, mode, no, it's not even close in a lot of ways. Like you can feel the Apex Legends Titanfall DNA in the gunplay and the movement. It's very sound. Compared to something like a Concord, which felt terrible. Like I don't think they're particularly close in that regard. Where the comparisons could bleed in are like the character roster. I find it very generic, very uninspired, and I was particularly disappointed when I fired up the game on stream and I was like, 3v3, really? Okay, like let me keep an open mind because that map looked pretty big in the trailer. But not only that, 8 heroes, one mode.
Yeah.
Dude, after 2.5 hours, I was like, all right, like, I don't hate this. I definitely don't like it. It's kind of just like, I literally said in my review, I was like, I don't think I'm going to remember this game by the end of the year. I used an example. I said, you and I are going to be on a podcast. We're going to be talking and be like, oh, what's that game? Came out top of the year. Oh, yeah, Highguard. And that's kind of what it is to me. It's such low impact because, I mean, you brought up another first-person shooter comparison amongst a myriad of them that I had in my own review where I'm like, it just pulls from so many sources. You feel the battle royale trend chasing in it. Like, oh, loot's dropping from the sky, rarity tiers in your loot, and resource gathering, and the key of like staying alive in these big fields. Like, okay, it's a battle royale game, but also it's like very close CQC Call of Duty like gunplay. And then you have siege mechanics where you're like fortifying your walls and protecting a point of interest within your base. And it's all these different things at once. And I'm leaving them. It's a hero shooter. So every character's got their own distinct abilities. And I'm sure there's other examples I'm not even bringing out here. And because it does all these things and all of them to differing levels of success, like the shooting, I'm like, okay, all right. Like if you shoot like this in most games, you're getting on pretty well here. Like it gets its core fundamentals, but like everything else is like to bad. And it just feels underbaked. And as a result, like, I don't think it's this absolutely atrocious, terrible, one of the worst games I ever played. Like I would just like, I lived that life for the last 2 years, man. I played a lot of bad games. I'm just, Highguard is average and mediocre in a way that does bother me because a lot of times those bother me more than just a straight up like was it Code Violet that came out recently? Like a straight up bad video game, right? Something that has the potential to be something is frustrating. And I think that's where those kind of reactions really do stem from is Highguard could be something, but it tries to be all these different things. And you could feel the trend analysis within it. Like they wanted to be like, okay, we're gonna make a battle royale. It's 2022 guys. Like, fuck, we got to pivot. Like this is, we can't do a battle royale now. This is a dead genre. Okay, let's turn this map that we made clearly for battle royale with like its loot drops into capture the flag, basically. Okay, we're going to put this like shield breaker here. Oh, that's not like distinct enough. Okay, base defense as well. It comes together into a mode that is, I think, interesting. Like, I think the raid mode's interesting. The idea behind it's interesting, but there's so much downtime. Yeah. 3v3 was a mistake. I really want to know. I feel like they had to have tested it, but even 4v4.
I know, still.
Like 6v6, I feel might pull it over the line, but these maps are too big. The gunplay is too solid for you to have such infrequent encounters, and especially when the respawn timer is forgiving. It's like there's no reason to keep us out of fighting for so long. Like when you assault that base and this goes fast, frenetic, I'm like, okay, I could see something being here. Like you could see this map being carved up in all these little pieces. And that's why I wonder why they didn't do that. Like this game could support so many modes. And I think that's their roadmap. But with the fact that they developed this game in secret for so long until Jeff pulled the lid off on it, I'm just wondering, like, why not cook for a little bit longer? Like you said, open beta and like get the modes going. Because I do agree with one headline I saw, which was actually it wasn't a headline. It was a Steam review that did not recommend the game. But they were like, it's fair to say the game wasn't ready for this level of scrutiny.
Right.
But at the same time, that's where like Jeff getting involved on this level is not good for the game. Like I respect what he was clearly trying to do. Like he had something he liked and he fought for it. And Jeff's had enough great reveals in the past where like, I know a lot of people are like, should we trust Jeff? Do we believe in Jeff? And I'm not quite that. Like this man gave me Fate of the Old Republic. Sorry. He's on my nice list still, right? Like he got my Impossible Game announcement. So, I don't look at it as like, should I question everything Jeff has ever done? Right. Do I think though, even if his intentions were pure, that he hurt this game a lot? 1,000%.
I agree.
And I respect what he was trying to do, but I can imagine if I'm working on Wildlight, like as part of that team, every time this dude pressed send tweet, I'd be like,
I know.
Oh, and you think they're gonna apologize to?
The apology that he had the tweet with the swords around him, like
yeah.
And I was like,
I'm picking up the phone and be like, Jeff, log out, bro, log out.
Yeah,
what are you doing? You're fucking killing us, bro.
Yeah, he's doing the most. He was doing the most. Not interruption, but because I agree, and I was just like. Because there's some things that are cool about it. Like, you know, it's just like, but to your point, like, how does the studio feel? Because it's one thing to throw the alley-oop to your homie, right?
Yeah.
And be like, yo, this is a game. I like it. Whatever. Look, I'm not going to sit there and say that if everyone is putting themselves in Jeff Keighley's position, you're going to have a natural bias at some point towards some team or some developer that you come across that you find this game, you're like, man, this is really good. I'm going to give you a spot in the show. Cool. The issue came down to where the spot was in the show, right? And I think then you double down, triple down, post the show fiasco to tell people that, look, you're going to be wrong. I'm going to have the I told you so moment. And now you making people come in with so much vitriol.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. We don't live in those times where people are going to be like, unless the game is like undeniable fire. Yeah, which I just didn't feel like it was stacked up going into it. That was what was going to be the case, you know? Yeah. There was that brief, I don't know if you paid attention to the whole conversation online to the level where like everyone was dogging the game, right? We're like, it wasn't looking good. There was like a 2-night period where all of a sudden I'm watching all these content creators make like different videos and headlines and tweets. Like suddenly, like, cause like, that's when Jeff doubled down. He's like, you'll apologize to me in 48 hours. Yeah, right. Yeah. And like, I'm watching all these content creators like suddenly backpedal and shit. And I'm like, y'all are soft. Like, you all backed off the moment the tide started to turn. And then the game came out. It's like, oh, actually it is exactly in a lot of ways what we expected. Like not terrible, but not great. It's just right in the middle of the road. And
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I just think he did that game a horrible disservice because I think about two worlds, right? Where one is what he did.
Right.
The other is where Jeff goes, I liked it a lot when I played it. I'm really curious to get everyone's thoughts. I really believed in it. Like just this, and Jeff's been in the limelight long enough and has had these moments where everyone's like, yo, this year's Game Awards fucking suck, dude. What was that last reveal? Need for Speed, or what was it? The Fast and Furious. That's what it was. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like he's been in these moments where it's like you're a seasoned vet in the fire. Like, how is your response is to like double down and bury a game, basically, bro? Yeah. Like, did you really think it was that fire? Because I don't think Jeff is a man without taste.
No,
I know after this people will disagree with that, but I'm like, I've seen him hype up great game reveals and like nail and be like, yeah, that's what I was looking for. That did mean a lot. He was right. Like he gets that moment. So I'm like, why is he? And I get why some people are looking at Jeff and he denied it, but like people are looking at Jeff like, are you financially invested in this?
Hey, yo.
Like, it's at that point where I'm like, bro, this is the hill you're dying on. Like,
I know.
I said in my video, I'm like, this one, are you sure?
I know. Sure? The emotionality, I feel, got the better of him. And I think if he looks back at it, he will correct this mistake. I hope that, you know, you learn from him because again, I agree. I don't think he's this evil person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't have the greatest relationship with him, but I respect what he's done for the culture.
Exactly.
I respect, I respect, like, we have a show and awards and stuff like that. But again, I think it's what you said was perfect. To me, he did the thing. Okay, fine. You learn from the mistake, but then you go, hey guys, hey, what do you guys think? And he had one tweet, but he had that tweet like after a couple that told you so, can't wait to hear what you think. You gonna owe me an apology. And by then it's too late. You've already cultivated this kind of energy towards the game. And now, in defense of the studio, the only thing I gotta say that I did not like, and I don't know how you fix this if you're Steam, is just that you can't be putting in these negative reviews and you ain't got 10 minutes of the game. Like, I personally don't like that. Like, I'm not saying that you could play something. But like, can we get like an hour of gameplay in on your time before you can allow to say this is complete and utter trash? Yeah. Like, that part, I'm like, damn, that's unfair. But again, that's the climate that Jeff created. People like, oh, where you think we gonna see what this game is? You gonna hear what and I'm like, damn, the review. But I felt bad because that, again, it's not the team's fault. It's people coming in to check Jeff to let him know, bro, this ain't all that. And even though I'm in there with my 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying? I ain't feel when they say that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The key is going to be how quickly they respond. And I just worry when you don't do open beta, when you have limited modes, when you have a kind of an uninspiring cast, how quickly can you get the response and the feedback? Now, if they do, there's a little here, though. I will say that it was a little. I'm not going to say I didn't have no fun at all. There was some fun to be had. But we're going to see how quickly they respond. Or is it going to be a situation where we hear from them 2 months from now they got 2.0 update, and it's just like it's too late at this point?
Yeah, they said something really interesting, which was that they don't require a lot of players to keep things alive for this. And I found that to be, I was talking to Locke, I was like, that might be the most baffling headline I've seen. Like, your multiplayer game doesn't need a massive player base to stay afloat. Like, I've never heard of small business multiplayer, where like that's your goal. But it feels like they're shrinking in the moment. I was hoping that their silence was like you know what? Y'all ain't going to change your mind anyway. Yeah. We'll show you what's up. It's free to play. Check it out for yourself. That is why I think people's insecurities started to get to themselves on like YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. Because I'm watching people immediately flip their opinions. I'm like, they didn't even say anything, guys. We haven't seen shit. They just put that, we'll be streaming, and a bunch of content creators got flown out to an event that was paid for. And in some cases, some content creators were offering money to make their videos about it. It's like, dude, like, I've been in all those positions, right? Like with Marathon, I was offered to not only be flown out there, but they're like, we'll pay you for that. And that's when I told you, I was like, it's like, fuck no, I'm not doing that, dude. But I've also had moments where it's like, I don't have the money. And like, I think it was BioWare was an example. They were like, we'll fly you out to play Veilguard for 6 hours. I was like, I don't have the money and I want to do coverage, so I'm going to check it out. People did not like that. People did not. I've been on that end of the spectrum, and I've also done it with Xbox where I've been like, hey, I paid for my flight, they paid for my hotel because that was the most I could afford. And people were like, that's good. Like, you're still trying, and that seemed to get over well. So I feel like we're at this point now where being flown out to play things for yourself is like, even if you're like, I'm uninfluenced, it's not enough for the audience. And I think that's fair to say at this point, because we're starting to see like, there was a hype job a little bit around this. Like, a lot of creators coming out and being like, I think this could be the next big thing. And everyone plays it. And you and I, who are not involved in all that, are like, it's got some potential, sure. But like, there's nothing else here really right now. Like, this game needs like at least 2-3 months to like get its wheel spinning. And like right now it's on SteamDB. I see it's at 11K players right now. Like, player base to drop down. Can we get to 3 months with that small of a player base? Is that what they were talking about? So it's at the center of a much broader conversation. It's like a inflection point for games.
I agree. I think to your earlier point, the only thing I would say is that as long as you disclose that you either were flown out, whatever, I think it's fine. I don't have too much problems with that per se. But to your point, in this specific case, because it was, again, I gotta blame Jeff. It's because Jeff put so much on it. So now there's going to be so much a target now on the influencer. I think he did the influencers a disservice, because now it's just like, okay, only y'all got to see it. Of course, there's going to be people can say, of course you go glaze it. Of course you go there. And that may be unfair to them too. So again, I think if he takes a step back and looks at this situation from a top level view, he would handle it different.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right? You'd hope so. So we'll see. But just in my playtime, just like, boring's the right word. I don't like to use that because it's it's like, video game. I don't know. It's so hard to make a boring game nowadays, but really like you could feel my attention was waning by like hour 2. Like,
you're good.
This isn't enough, because I know that feeling. Fortunately, I had that feeling recently enough with Marvel Rivals where like, I'm like, oh, this feels great. Queue times are incredible. This gameplay, this roster, it's there. It's ready as all can be.
Hell yeah.
And I put like 90 hours into it, right? Like that, I know the difference between when multiplayer is ready and I'm hooked versus multiplayer is not ready and I'm not interested.
Yeah. It's still missing a few things that you're like, okay, I can't wait to get back on that. And I'm just like, okay, I see the fun in it, but it's still more needed to get that. And it's just too much downtime between some of the modes, and the siege stuff is cool, but again, they just got to figure this out. I personally think they need to expand, say as far as the player count.
Yeah, there's a lot of simple fixes, but I just, the implementation of it's going to be a big question mark. Like if they come out roaring and there's like update.
There you go. Yes.
That, I think of No Man's Sky, like this impossible ditch. And I know it's always the highly regarded comeback story in gaming, but really what they did was they just kept coming back no matter what. Eventually the people who had moved on to the next tragedy in gaming are minding their own business. This game's earning its reputation. 76 did the same thing. 76 had to be the most irredeemable thing I've ever seen. The fact that game is able to stand on its own 2 feet now is crazy. So there is something to be said about hanging with it and just being friendly to your customer base, free updates, just keep going.
Take the feedback, man.
If they can do that and hang around, I do think they'll turn it into something.
Like
a year from now with the roster expanded, modes. If it gets there, I really, again, it's not terrible. It's not great. I could see it shifting more towards, this is solid. Like I enjoy this. I don't know if it beats out. Problem is it's so competitive, right, dude?
So saturated, bro.
It's so saturated. You got great options everywhere. Right. Do you really care enough to wait?
And that's the problem. If you don't nail it out the jump, this engagement base, these monthly daily active users ain't loyal, bro.
No.
Yo, Marvel Rivals just dropped a new joint. Yo, Arc Raiders just dropped a new.
Yeah, Arc Raiders dropped a new update this week.
Bro, there you go. You're out. You've got. That's why I'm like, where was the public open beta? Where was the thing? Now, there still was some key mistakes here that I felt like really hurt something with a lot of potential. I like the fact that when you kill someone, then you could destroy the body and the spawn point, or you could revive and bring your team.
None of my teammates like to use that feature, by the way.
Yeah,
no one liked to revive, and it's like a core feature of the game. I'm like, it's not even a class. Like, guys, really?
I know. Like, it is a super core feature of the game. You got that. They got map voting. They like little things, and I'm like, all right,
yeah, pieces are there. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But you got to be ready for prime time, otherwise you get forgotten.
Yeah. So, and they had the players to start. Imagine this game's fire, bro. 100K people on Steam alone tried it out. It's like people can say what they will about the review bombing. I do think it's fair. Like you brought up, I agree. There's a conversation to be had, right? Yeah. Because a lot of these reviews are legitimate people who did play time, or a lot of them are illegitimate. And you got to wonder about that sort of stuff. But, I just think about how if they did storm out the gates and this was like ready to go, 100K people did try it. Yes. That's the thing we can't say. Like a lot of people are already trying to wash away the criticism, and I just don't agree with it. And I'm like, dude, it's just not working out. Like it's like one of those ugly breakups. Like it's just not working out. That's what I'm thinking right now. Like some people aren't accepting it, and I'm like, people did try it. Way more. This is at least like 10 times more than I thought people would show up for this.
Hell yeah. Was it almost 100K, right?
Yeah. And I'm just like, people tried it, bro. If this thing was great,
to your point,
enough people were in there to be like, hey, word of mouth does its thing.
You're right.
Its window was small, but it had its chance. People tried it.
You're 100% right, because that's where the players overshout the noise on social. Because even us, sometimes, even me, I get into Call of Duty, this game, whatever, right? Fortnite, But the players are like, nah, we having fun, bro. I don't care what you talk about, Carl. So to your point, they had this mass of people that came in. If it really did nail everything, that base stays there for a while. It doesn't drop as much significantly. So there are legit criticisms that made people fall back, as opposed to just internet hating. Because if you're having fun, you're having fun. That's just it.
Yeah. So that's High Guard. But Cog, what else have you been playing?
Obviously. So still on my journey, man. It's been fun to go back to Midgar. And bro, this game, I will say, it's going to be very controversial, Brad. Don't come for me. I know you listen to Duke. But it's like, I know Brad is a big Rebirth guy, but replaying Remake Integrate now, I don't know if open world was the way to go for the second one. I like it linear. I like it with a more directed, controlled story as opposed to open up the world, give us 1,000 mini games, give us all these things. And it's just like, you know, again, I'm curious to see where they go with 3. You know, right now, I'm just getting mid-go. I'm in my Shinra Tower. We get into our big reveals of what's happening. And I am paying more attention because because obviously I stopped halfway through Rebirth because I knew, you know, it was going to come to Xbox. But there is a part of me that's like, bro, he's got so much pressure to nail this story because it is so all over the place as far as what's real, what's happening, what's not happening, adaptation versus, you know, the time stuff without spoiling for people who still have not played. So I'm just like, now that I'm looking at with nuanced detail of what things that Sephiroth says and what things with characters that reappear that we like, what the hell are they doing here kind of situation. So it is interesting going back. But I will say, though, I'm having so much fun in this style, a little bit more than Rebirth. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm curious. Apparently, he said he's already got the third name done. As far as
I'm curious.
It's done now. They're just doing the cleanup and the stuff. Looks like my prediction is true as far as Rebirth coming to Switch and Xbox this year, potentially summer. I'm curious to see when they get the release date out for the thing. But I'm just happy that it's doing well. I ain't gonna front. Like, as a person, I love turn-based all the time. This turn-based with the active turn battle system, I still like it. I'm like, all right, it's still cool. And then obviously you switching your characters based on abilities and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not up to the integrate part yet because that's, remember, the second part of it from her perspective of what was going on. And I'm going to replay that to see where they go that, because there was also some key things that I want to address there. There's some characters I want to see where they go with that. But overall, this is still my favorite Final Fantasy game. It's still controversial, though. And here's the thing. I got to give Hogan flowers because it's like they really run a risk here. If they do not nail this story of this trilogy, some people are going to look at this as a bastardization and you just cash crowing and you ain't making no sense of why they have to, like, they're going so divergent, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. So yeah, once I get through that, then I'll let you know when I get to the integrate piece. But I'm having fun, man. I really am. And this game, man, shout out to Digital Foundry who just did the breakdown on Series X, Series S. Series S version, impressive. Actually, a little bit more than the Switch 2, which actually surprised me with the memory thing. But no, this game runs fantastic on Series. It is a looker, especially if you haven't played it. I haven't played it since PS4. I was day one on PS4, beat the game, and now I'm playing. I'm like, man, this looks phenomenal. It just feels so good. So yeah, I'm getting it on. I got my materia. I'm doing my active dodge. I'm doing the, what's my man, Headley, whatever his name is. And I'm getting all the extra summons and doing all the extra harder content. And I can't wait for certain things. Obviously, the classic scenes when I go to the Don Corneo's foolishness, and I got to do that. It's certain things. Like, I remember what I was doing. This is the game. Let's be honest. Like PlayStation 1 means a lot to me. But I remember when I got this game, I used to get, this is what I knew this game was good. When you get the Madden bros and the bros that would never play an RPG. I'm like, yo, check this out. And then what I would do is I showed them a summon for the first time, show them a Leviathan, show them a Knights of the Realm. They'd be like, yo, what's that, bro? That's that Final Fantasy 7. What's up? You gonna play a JRPG for the first time? You gonna try it? Yeah, I ain't gonna front, yo, that joy look crazy. This was the game that I got the hardcore sports bros and people who did not like JRPG. So for all the hardcore JRPG guys are like, Final Fantasy 7 is a do, bro. Fair. But you can't take away from the impact and the popularity that this game had to make people try the genre. And that's what it is. So yeah, I'm having a ball just doing my replaying.
Right on. Yeah, I love remakes so much. Like, I think definitely I'm with you on liking a little bit more than Rebirth. Just a little bit more. I like just how much I was uncertain about how are they exploring Midgar? How are you going to turn this like 2-hour section of the base game into a full 30-hour game? I love that it was 30 hours long, by the way. It was just like a side note, very beatable, focused game. Like, it just made a lot of great decisions. And of course, I love the I talk about it all the time, but the whispers. I think they are such a key component of why that game resonated with me so much, because it is one of the first games you can feel the conversation between like the player and its developers, and it's just art. It's really beautiful. Rebirth is great, but that one of my problems with Rebirth is it's very much like on the line, and the things that deviate that make it interesting with a certain favorite character of mine,
oh boy,
don't really appear as much as I would like.
Yes,
you know? Such a disappointment. So it's the only thing. There were a couple of parts of Rebirth that rattled me, where I went from sure bet to okay, like this is still great, but you know, there's some screws to tighten going into part 3. Unlike if I were to think of a game that's going from part 2 to part 3, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'm like, oh, no doubts. No doubt they're going to nail it. So that's kind of the difference there. But I'm glad you're playing it. Seeing how well it was doing on Switch, I don't want to dive in there and get the handheld experience going, but I'm going to wait till we get like a part 3 date.
Oh, part 3, then you're going to jump in?
What that looks like. Yeah, get the replay in, because what I would like to do is base 7 and then remake Crisis Core.
Oh, you're doing the gamut.
Yeah, Rebirth.
Okay.
I want to hit it all. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I get it. Real quick thing is for the Lords, have you, being that you like the Whisper situation, have you ever used the assess materia on one of the Whispers?
No. Wait, what happens?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil. I can't mention any people, but bro, it's very cool. And you get some insight on. Remember, you talked about that player to developer relationship or what is happening, and I thought it was really, really cool when you actually do that stuff. Once you guys a good video on it too. He's such a Final Fantasy VII nerd. I don't know if you're familiar with Maximilian.
Oh, but, of course.
Yeah. So that's the homie. So yeah, I like that stuff. So again, we just got to see where it's going to go. But I'm really enjoying this first one.
Send me that, because I'm very curious what they got, because I haven't heard of that at all.
Yes, because you know what the assess material does. It lets you, and it gives you a little foresight. And I'm like, oh, this is what we doing. Okay,
I want to see that video.
Absolutely, I got you.
In the meantime, outside of Highguard, what I've been playing is, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, a lot of Resident Evil. So I finished Resident Evil 2 Remake. I did a Leon run, a Claire run, finished both those playthroughs. Awesome video game, man. Just like so well made. I don't like the sewer segment. I've realized that now. Yeah, just like, because like, you know why it's there for what you need to get to after. Like it makes sense. Like it's almost like your gameplay is serving the story more in that section. But it's just a lot of like the loop-de-loops that all the other, like it's basically broken up into 3 blocks, and the first location and the third location do it really well, perfectly. And then the middle location doesn't, I don't think. But otherwise though, the only other critique I have with this game, and I'd be curious to know what the audience thinks of this, because I have yet to do research on this. It's something I'm looking into. The damage balancing. Yeah. I think it's based on how much ammo you have or your current rank, how the game scores you. Whichever it is, I know the original did this, but I don't like the feeling of like when I take out my pistol and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to the head, and the zombie's still like, I'm like, because what I've heard is it is based off your ammo. Again, I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't want to speak too definitively, but what happens is you'll get like loaded up on stuff, and sometimes you'll shoot a zombie twice, down he goes. I'm like, great, cool. But it's like the game is intentionally draining your resources. And I get it. It's survival horror. People are like, Maddie, what genre you new here? But what I'm saying is like when I play the game well and I get everything and I'm efficient, the difficulty still tries to, or the rating system, or you're just the game noticing how much ammo you have, squeezes you, where I'm like, that doesn't feel good. So it's like the one part of the gameplay I wrestle with. It feels great as a third-person shooter. The camera's here. You can feel like this is why this and Resident Evil 7 are why survival horror had such a huge resurgence across the industry, because these are such masterful games. But that is the one thing I'd love to hear some comments about it, just to fill me in a little bit more on the information about this game, because I'm getting ready to do my research for a Retro Rebound video, but I'd love to hear like the community on it. But Resident Evil 2 Remake, I love playing it, but it's like I have that love-hate relationship with how the damage balancing is. I'm not even talking from the angle of like what other more arcadey RE games do, where it's like upgrading your weapons and they have like a damage meter. That feels great to me personally. Like that's why I love RE5, but I'm the weirdo who loves RE5. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong on a lot of this stuff compared to like the Resident Evil faithful, but still, 2 Remake was incredible. Great to kind of refamiliarize myself with young Leon. Kind of his start in RPD. And obviously we see in the Requiem trailer that RPD is completely destroyed. And I think we're going to go back there, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, like I'm getting filled in on everything Leon's been up to. And right now, I'll talk about it in a little bit here, but I'm on Resident Evil 3 Remake. But you had a
quick question because remember I'm OG. I was there during the original. 2 is near and dear to me. That is GOAT status for me.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, 2 is everything. I remember when it came out. I remember like yesterday, 2 discs. Like, hey, 2 stories. Like, okay, clearly, okay, 2 perspectives. But there was a moment at the time when I played, and when it originally dropped, it was not known that when you replay, we're going to have to be dealing with someone. That moment to me was a game changer in video games. I'm talking about the Mr. X / Nemesis moment. Like, how did you feel when you dealt with that for the first time, when it happened for the first time?
When he starts like following you? Dude. Okay, so I'm glad you asked this because that actually brings up a great story. This is the first game that really has in a while that's maybe another night. So, when I played RE2 Remake when it first came out in like 2019, I was a survival horror fan, but I feel like you'll get this sports analogy. When such a weird crossover, whatever. When you haven't played golf in a while and you swing your club, right? You hit the ball straight. You're like, damn, I haven't swung a club in a while. Like my swing's kind of nice right now. But let's say you're playing 9, right? And you keep swinging the club. Suddenly the ball's like, it starts going off, right? Because your swing is loosening up. So you're deceptively good when you start playing golf because all of those muscles are tight. So like your swing has less room for error. I thought about that a little bit with my Resident Evil 2 experience, right? I go in, I'm like, yeah, I've played a little survival horror, decent amount. Like I like Dead Space and all that stuff, right? But it's not like it's at that point, I haven't really registered. This is one of my favorite genres. So when I'm playing this and I'm like not really getting too scared of Mr. X or whatever, I'm like, all right, whatever. Like he's fine, bro. When I was playing as Leon in my first like 3 hours of the game, all I hear is like, bro, as I'm walking around, I'm sitting here. It's about like 12:30, close to bedtime, not quite there yet. And I hear this dude. All right, so he's in the same hallway as a liquor, which is the worst combination a man could ever ask for, right? Because one of them just doesn't die easily. You have to walk near it. And then you got Mr. X, who you got to run from. So the liquor's on your ass, bro. Pause. So, so I run into a save room and I hear the liquor walking around. I hear the footsteps of Mr. X walking around. And I'm like, look at the time. I think I'm going to go to bed. I have never done that where I was like, my heart was racing. My hands were tight. And I was like, yeah, you know what? The other time he got me, bro, I was playing as Claire and I pull into the records room and I pick up I think it was the valve or the jack. I forgot what it was. I pick up an item there and all of a sudden, poof, the door just opens and this dude's just standing there with, what up? What's up? Oh, whoa. And bro. Yeah, screw this guy. Like he got me good this playthrough for sure. Like that tension, that anxiety is so real. Bro. So real. So yeah,
I'm glad you said it because that we never as gamers, when this game came out, we've never experienced anything like this. This was an indomitable force that it didn't matter. You emptied the whole clip. It did not matter. Then the thing about Resident Evil, which was the classic figures, you get to that save room, you go, you hear that nice calming beat, the safety. Bro, he's busting through walls, disrespecting your private time, coming after you with the relentlessness. It was the greatest thing ever, but the most tension and stressful thing ever in a video game. I was like, this is genius. This is genius. Like we lost it. We were like, this is the great. We had nicknames for him. Like it was up. So I'm glad the future generations can understand the terror that he caused. And it was one of the greatest secrets that they kept baked in on the second playthrough for Resident Evil. Because the first playthrough, you just went through, all right, cool. You go through and you like, yo, what is this? Amazing stuff.
Yeah. I actually think I like Claire's playthrough a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Claire's is more fun.
Yeah. Like her story is a lot more interesting. And there's things that happen without spoiling for those who haven't played, but like there's things that happen in Leon's story that, I mean, that's the idea. You're supposed to play both these, by the way. So I'm not playing, I'm just saying like Claire's felt very complete.
Yeah.
Whereas like Leon's, there were things you saw where I'm like, I haven't seen you in a while. And why do you fucking look like that, dude? Like what the hell happened? You know? Yes. But I love how both stories feed off each other in such like intelligent ways. It's a great video game.
Absolutely.
So like I said, I'm on to RE3 Remake now. We actually had a write in here from Chase. He says, yo, Maddie, I too have been going on the Resident Evil pilgrimage of sorts because I'm so hyped for Requiem. I saw on your stream you were considering Resident Evil 3 Remake, and considering it's part of the Raccoon City saga, I think it's totally worth it. It's basically a 6-hour shot of adrenaline action movie, and Jill Valentine's character in this game is the best the series has seen, in my opinion. It's definitely could have and should have been longer, considering they cut content from the original game, which is disappointing. But if you go in with the right expectations and didn't buy it for $60 when it came out, I think it's super awesome. As I get older, I appreciate the short and sweet games I can get in and out of personally. Or play the OG3. It's still great on PlayStation, but there's no trophies. Well, thank you, Chase, for the heads up on that. I am playing this right now. I'm about like 2 hours into it. And yeah, I mean, I got this for like $20. I like it. I think the opening to the game is also really interesting with it. Like, it's funny because I know so much about RE2 now. Like I've heard so much about it and I played it multiple times. But RE3, I know nothing about. So it's like interesting going into this one completely blind. Yeah. Okay. Like so Nemesis. I got another pursuer on my ass, bro. I'm getting a little tired of this.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of this, man. So except this dude, I threw a grenade at his feet. He's gone. Yeah, I blew his ass up. He dropped a weapon upgrade. I'm like, oh, I can take his ass on. The parry window timing, if you will, where if you like dodge, Jill get down and shoulder roll. Thought that was pretty cool because I wish RE2 Remake had a little bit more movement. I thought this was a good little step forward here.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's also just really cool to be like in Raccoon City for this part of the story. So I'm really liking that. But yeah, this is fun. I've never played this one before, and the reason originally I was just going to do Leon games. I was going to do RE2 Remake, RE4 Remake. But I was like, you know what? Like, do the whole fucking thing.
Got to, bro.
The whole thing. Like, I think the only one I'm skipping is 5 because I've played 5 so many times. It is memorized.
Yeah, that's just right.
But I've never replayed RE4 Remake. 6, I got at least see because Sherry's here, Leon's here, so that's there. And then I'm like, well, I'm right next to 7 and 8.
Here you go.
May as well. That's the chain that I've been on right now. So my goal is by Requiem's release date to have all of these done. And if I can do Outbreak, cool. That would be a bonus because I want to know more about Grace.
Yes,
her mother, who is I think one of the, if not the lead of that game.
And absolutely. I love it.
So that's what we're playing this week, y'all. A lot of Resident Evil, a lot of High Guard, a lot of Midgar.
Savage.
All right, Cog. This next one here, we're in the news now. And as I labeled it here in our document, Xbox has realized the most obvious thing ever. But we got to talk about it. It's been a talking point of the Dukes for a long while. So like I mentioned earlier in the show, Xbox did an interview with Games Radar, and they talked a little bit about the Developer Direct, lessons that they've learned, multi-platform strategy. It's a really great interview. I appreciate the transparency here. It feels like an interview that will not be Xbox shoving their foot in their mouth down the stretch here. But they talk about a number of things like, hey, why is Fable on, PS5 day one, but Forza Horizon 6 isn't? Why are we doing it that way? And plenty of other things like, what about your release cadence? That's a little crazy. And they're starting to take these sort of things into account here. So the first thing I wanted to get into was actually the release cadence here. I'll start off by what Games Radar says. They say, by my count, Xbox Game Studios published 6 first-party games, 1 into early access, 2 from third-party studios, 6 on PS5 in 2026. Or 2025. 2026 sounds similarly stacked. After a generation spent grappling with the narrative that Xbox has no games, is it gratifying to deliver such a strong lineup? He says, when you were just reciting all those things we did last year, I said something similar to this note that I sent out to the teams at the beginning of 2026. I just feel so incredibly proud of everything we shipped last year. I think we shipped 15 unique projects outside or out of Xbox Games Studios. And then he says, we had some moments where we were probably on top of ourselves. If I think back October, we had Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, Keeper. And then Games Radar also adds that there was the ROG Xbox Ally handhelds. Halo Campaign Evolved announcement was on top of that. And so Craig says, yeah, like all those games that I just mentioned are incredible games. We want that to get into that period going. Okay, we think they're for all different people. But the weird but chill, as Tim would describe it, Keeper is different from the hyper-fast combat in Ninja Gaiden 4, which is different from the wonderful world Obsidian brought to life in The Outer Worlds 2. They are different, but it's still a bunch of games releasing in a short window of time between each other. Games Radar asks, has this experience helped you recalibrate Xbox's release schedule for 2026? And Craig says, I think we ideally want to space things out more and make sure games have their own, as we like to call it, oxygen in those moments. It's just super busy. Our own release schedule is one thing, but then you have everyone else's release schedule at the same time. There are very few windows, and there's more and more games and more competition for a player's time. There's also movies, music, and all this other stuff as well that gets packed in. So the learning was this: let's not put stuff on top of our stuff. And I think we have done that. Let our games have a bit of oxygen, even though it's always busy and there's really never a free time to launch something. Games Radar says, well, speaking of oxygen being taken out of the calendar, how are you feeling about the release of Grand Theft Auto 6? It's a great line of questioning, by the way.
And they went there. I love the questions.
Obviously got delayed to November. Is GTA 6 impacting Xbox's plans at all? Or is this something you're not thinking about? And Craig says, I mean, it's more that they're going to do what they're going to do. My job is to do what we should do for the best of our games. So yeah, we don't ... There's always other games and there's always other things we have to consider. And that's the snippet of the interview I want to focus on first here, Cog. So I want to pass it to you. We've talked about this ad nauseum, right? Xbox has got to get it together on this release cadence. Like it's mentioned here in this interview, 3 games in a week plus the ROG Ally. Like, sure, it's a window, it's a beat, but like, could Keeper have done a little bit more if it had its own little window? Outer Worlds 2, of course, is the one that stands head and shoulders above all of them. Like, that game didn't get the players or the sales I think it really deserved. Mm-hmm. So could these have done a little bit more? Was it because of the fact that it was buried in an otherwise busy month? Cog, when you see Xbox say something like this, what are your thoughts on how they could handle the release cadence for 2026?
I like it. And I like the acknowledgement. I like that Craig, I felt was super transparent. I didn't expect this level of transparency. Yeah, as far as the, acknowledgement of what he's considering the oxygen of the room of a release. And, we looked at that. If I think the blemish would be that, right? Because last year I felt the top of the year they were fine. They had, was it South of Midnight, Avowed, Doom. They were spaced out at least a month and a half apart and stuff like that. So I felt that was good. But yeah, just towards the end, that was the problem. Like, oh man, I wish they could have spaced that, especially between Outer Worlds and Ninja Gaiden. So this is important. I think he's transparent in reference to third party because the elephant in the room is Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah. And you have to play that smart. You cannot endanger your own titles with the proximity of that. So I like the acknowledgement. The key is going to come down to, again, this type of year that they have with all of these titles, right? You have to, in a perfect world, be able to space them out. You just have to. You have to let these things breathe. The thing I didn't like even though he's honest about the thought process of last year, he's like, oh, well, Outer Worlds is this audience, it's that audience, Keeper is that. I didn't agree with. I mean, I'm glad he's telling us what the thought process was back then, and they're going to try to course correct. But that mentality last year, I just don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not doing these studios a good service. You're doing them a disservice, in terms of that, especially Double Fine's Keeper. Now, granted, I'm not the biggest fan of Keeper. It's okay. But it deserved to not be fart in the wind, just get out there, kind of energy. And that's the energy they kind of gave it to me. So I think this is positive, though. Overall, I think this is a positive acknowledgement. And I get the vibe. Oh, no, they're going to move around Grand Theft Auto 6. And I don't
know why he was kind of cagey about that. He was like, oh, well, we kind of have to look at everyone. I'm like, dude, it's GTA 6. Like, there is no need for pride here.
I mean, it is. But I mean, obviously, there's third parties that we don't know about, right? Where they kind of know other games that's going to come out on the platform and whether they either have the marketing rights or whatever. So he tried to be respectful to the other guy. That's all. But yes, to your point, GTA is the boogeyman. We all know. I agree with you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, the key to me is when I see a Fable announcement and I see something like Autumn, to me, that's the acknowledgement that, we are still going to do.
We saw Autumn for that.
Yes. To me, that says we're going to do a shell game. And I'm cool with that because Fable must succeed at all costs. And we'll get into the whole, which they talked about earlier, which is the whole, I love when they ask, like, hey, these games were day and date PS5, but these games were not, right?
Yeah.
I love these type of questions because, again, if you're this multi-platform publisher, where is the consistency? Why has it been what it's been? And he kind of answers that stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. Let's give it a read here. GameStar says Xbox ported 6 titles to PS5 in 2025, and there's plenty more set for 2026. How are you determining when to bring Xbox Game Studios games to other platforms? And Craig says, as the guy that gets to run studios and help our games teams, I take a pretty simple view on this. We want our games to reach the most players that we can. I've been on this journey before. You know, I was running Sea of Thieves at Rare when we took it to PlayStation 5. And as we migrated from Xbox to PC to PlayStation, we saw more players come in and we saw the community around the game grow. Forza Horizon 5, which launched on PS5 last year, did really, really well. As we now know, we have an estimate of 5+ million sales. Mm-hmm. He says, help the community around that game grow. It gives everybody more people to play with. For me, this strategy is really about how can we have our games reach as many people as they can. Then GamesRadar says, something I've kind of been a little confused by is the consistency of that strategy. We see, for example, Fable and Kiln have day and date on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, whereas the PlayStation port of Forza Horizon 6 is scheduled for after launch. And Craig says, there's always development realities about when these projects start, how big a team is, and what plans they have at the start of development. Like you said, when a strategy changes, maybe you've got a plan that exists with a game, and maybe you adopt that. Maybe you can't, so that's why. And to be clear, this is totally fair feedback. Sometimes we are inconsistent. You see some games in one place and some games in multiple places. Just know that's something we're going to work on, and we're going to try and be more consistent with what we do. But you know, for our game makers, if you're on the Fable team, you just want as many people who love Fable to appreciate the great work that team's doing. That's always our goal. It's rarely more complicated than that. It's like, how can we get this game to as many players as we can? And so then he was asked, would you like to see Xbox Game Studios get to a place where all of its first-party releases are landing across platforms, all platforms, day one? And Craig says, my number one job is to help our teams be successful. I think about my role. Some of that is optionality and about what we do and what we approach. You used the word port before, and not to sort of pick you up on that word specifically, but wherever our games show up, we want them to show up and be the best that they can be for that platform. So we want to take advantage of whatever features and nuances that platform has. So that may lead to a bit of optionality, which is to say, if we're only in a position to release a game on a platform and not have it show up really well, then I think I wouldn't do that. I think we would have a conversation internally and go, hey, unless we can do it really well and do the right thing by those players, then. And that's when you get into the conversation of, well, maybe we can ship it afterwards, because teams are only a set size. We only have a certain amount of, ultimately it comes down to a resource. Not everything is limitless. So we just want to do the best job by each platform, by each game. So in that world, sometimes we will maintain optionality. Some games we might go to PC first. Others we might go to console first. Grounded 2 is a really good example of this. Which we launched into game preview, Steam and PC initially. So yeah, I won't think it's always going to be the same.
Interesting.
I gotta say, Craig, great level of transparency. We love these. These are great answers, bro, because I look at this and I don't feel like, oh, this shit's gonna like change soon. He's acknowledging like, yes, it's inconsistent. Yes, this is what we're doing. Here's how we're thinking about it. It's not gonna be like that right away. I like that. No foot in the mouth here.
Yes.
Talk to us, man. Talk to us. Yeah. Love what you're doing, Craig. You're earning that. You're earning that head of Xbox Game Studios title, man. Great job.
I have to agree with you. That I was blown away by this level of transparency. These are questions you could easily dance around and give a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors and nothing burger answers and not get to the point. One, the ownership of, yes, we have been inconsistent. Two, he keep using the word optionality. What I got from that is also what makes sense, one, for the team that's involved, the size of the team and the resources of the team. But he also made a key statement from the standpoint of like, does it make sense to this kind of audience, what audience we're going to give it to? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I also look at that as some things as far as where they haven't been switch ports yet as well. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to be real too. The elephant in the room was sometimes like I'm just going to say it off top. I'm looking at Forza right now, right? Mm-hmm. We know what Forza's done. But there's a part of me that, from a resource standpoint, you know, can they do that on the Switch from a networking standpoint? Can Playground do that on the Switch? Not saying it's impossible, but hey, based on the amount of resources and technicality involved to get that done, we may have to do that way later. You know what I'm saying? Let's focus on these other things. And then I look at an example of like what happened with South of Midnight. Like, to be honest, I was surprised. I was very happy that it came to Switch and PlayStation later, but more importantly, that it came to Switch, right? So I'm like, yo, that's cool. So to me, it's team size, resources, which he kind of explained, but you use the word optionality. What makes sense for the platform? And I think there's going to be some games that are better fit for certain platforms than other games. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at it too. I was surprised that he actually was that transparent. But other than that, you know, I really don't got too much negative to say as far as like, I think these questions, shout out to Games Right. These questions were, these are the questions I'll be asking. Like, I'll be wanting to know. Like, so I love the fact like, yo, will you ever get to a point where like, yo, day one, everything coming to every platform kind of thing? And I like the way he answered it. So I can't really complain with these kind of answers and what's going on here. It's going to make sense. But I like the fact that he said, look, there is inconsistencies. We are working on trying to resolve that inconsistencies, but we also got to respect, you know, the size and the resources from each team involved and what makes sense for us as a platform to port. So I can't get crazy with that. You know, that's just where I'm at with it.
No, 100%. I agree. I think when it comes to their PS5 release strategy, I mean, I get where he's talking about because he mentioned like some projects start off in a different place. And then I feel like that's got to eventually be a thing of the past. Like I have to imagine all these projects eventually start on PlayStation. What's the gain? If he starts off by saying, my job is to get as many players as possible to these games, it's like, okay, then you should make every game for all platforms. Unless it's, again, the game preview stuff makes sense. Start small, grow the base over time with each gradual update coming to new platforms. That makes sense. But like for something like Kiln to be day and date on PS5, it's like, okay, all of these need to be day and date on PS5. If like a smaller game like that can be.
And to be honest, like I'm a little disappointed that, again, I know Double Fine is small. I know the real Kiln to me should be on Switch day one.
Oh, it's not. Oh, interesting. Ooh. That's a miss.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, that's for that. Oh my God. So again, that's the transitionary period. That's the resource period. That's, you know, probably Double Fine. Based on his answer, I have to infer that Double Fine size and resources, they just right now are not ready to do that. But to the question by Games Radar, like, bro, why are you inconsistent? Why some here, some there? These are the conversations that are important to have. I like that they are being challenged in that regard, especially if your goal is to be a publisher.
Right on. All right, Cog. Last topic of the show here is about Clockwork Revolution. Brian Fargo, as he wrote on his Twitter account, snuck in a little interview here. And again, it's Games Radar, who's been very busy. But they got themselves a real winner here. And I just figured, you know what? Let's just kick it. You're going to listen to my voice for a good 10 minutes here. Just take in all the greatness that Fargo and the team are cooking. Because normally I pick out, right? Like what I just did there. Pick out the little snippets. But I'm getting a little tired of everyone dodging In Exile. Not hearing the greatness in full here.
Talk about it.
So let's have some fun. Get comfortable here. Cog, for you reading alongside me, I'm starting really at the top, actually. I was going to start 3 paragraphs in, but no, it's actually the first line here. Clockwork Revolution is In Exile Entertainment's most ambitious title, probably by a factor of 10. Stop right there. Have y'all played Wasteland 3 by 10? No. Bro, this is going to be fucking insane. I cannot wait. He says his team has been hard at work on this time-bending steampunk RPG for 6 years, and he wants to bring the level of reactivity from our isometric titles into something first-person. A bold ambition given the heights the studio reached with Wasteland 3. This ambition manifests all throughout Avalon, a sprawling metropolis where the choices you make ripple through history. Clockwork Revolution looks exceptionally complex, as if In Exile picked Prince of Persia aficionado and Dishonored devotee as key background traits when it began its development. He says, I can see why people would make those connections. Anytime you're playing with time mechanics, Sands of Time is going to come up. And we did hire one of the key artists from Dishonored. Fargo, you're so good, bro.
We should just stop it right there. Like between you and Saul with y'all Dishonored and adding, I already know it's up.
Dude, this guy's doing everything right.
He gets it.
He says the aesthetic influence is real. We seem to be striking a lot of different chords, which I'll take as a compliment because they are wonderful games. But the actual genesis of Clockwork Revolution was far simpler. We wanted to make a steampunk RPG. Fargo believes the steampunk genre, quote, hasn't been well represented in role-playing games, end quote. So inXile is being the change it wants to see in the world, hiring several key people behind the legendary Arcanum to get this right, including Clockwork's game director Chad Moore and principal designer Jason Anderson. Steampunk is in their DNA, he adds. If players are picking up vibes from Dishonored or Prince of Persia along the way, we're in good company. But we're aiming for Clockwork Revolution to be its own definition of time travel and reactivity. Clockwork Revolution casts you in the role of Morgan Vannett, an exhaustively customizable character who discovers a way to wield temporal manipulation. From there, you are thrust into an adventure across time where the choices you make on your trips to the past can change the city and the people and the stories of the world around you on micro and macro levels. inXile very much hangs on its hat on reactivity, Fargo continues, explaining that the studio is hell-bent on creating a truly malleable sandbox. For me, role-playing means I can play a role and actually affect the world around me. If all paths lead to the same outcome, the immersion breaks, and you start to feel like you're just playing a game rather than living in one. But when the world is constantly reacting and reflecting your choices, both in big ways and just in importantly small ways, that's when immersion really sets in. While Clockwork Revolution currently has no release window, when it does land, it'll be inXile's first AAA first-person shooter RPG, and its first fully fledged release as part of Xbox Game Studios following the 2018 acquisition. The studio is wielding the resources to deliver an experience that is definitely deep and purposely complex, packaged with a staggering degree of content and variables. Fargo says we probably build roughly 30% more content than what any player could see in a single playthrough. We want players to be able to approach the game as a different archetype, whether you want to be good, evil, or something in between, dude. I just like...
He's just cooking.
Keep going. Keep going.
He's cooking. He's going to get even better these next two paragraphs.
Morality is a tricky thing in Clockwork Revolution. The RPG will always be weighing your decisions and reacting appropriately, and Fargo is keen to stress that everything from the grandest acts of altruism to the smallest of microaggressions will help you define your character. No matter how you want to play, be it savior of the downtrodden working class or the next great scoundrel of history, inXile wants to get out of your way and observe the carnage. Here's what's really important to us. If you don't allow the player to be bad, to really go down those rabbit holes and to see the consequences play out, then they never really had free will to be good in the first place. They're not choosing to be good. They're just being forced down a path. We think it's essential that players are making that choice, not having it made for them. We also have a very dark sense of humor, which makes it all the more fun. Dude, I keep stopping because, I think this game, like every RPG that Xbox will release across the generation, I still think this will be the crown jewel. I sincerely believe that, like even above Fable, like everything he's saying is so up my alley.
This is core stuff you've been preaching for like the last 2 years on Duke. Like
it's not Clockwork talking morality on top of everything else more than Fable.
It's real.
Oh man. Let's keep going, shall we?
Let's go.
Layered into all of this is an excessive approach to character progression, gadget upgrades, and weapon development. Honestly, it's a little dizzying. inXile is keen to make you feel like a true steampunk tinkerer, something which it perhaps reflected best in its weapon systems. Once you find a gun, it's yours to keep throughout the entire game, transforming over time as you experiment with hundreds of different permutations. Hundreds.
Insane.
The complexity is very intentional. We're intending for this to be a game where players go online and debate about what the best build is or share tactics. The Destiny bros are going to show out.
Yeah, but you talking build crafting? Okay.
Yeah.
You got the nerve?
Emergent strategies we didn't even anticipate, and that requires a lot of variables. We want players to navigate the world and combat in a way that suits their play style. It's the same philosophy we bring to the narrative side. We want that flexible so people can make their story, whether it's how you spec your character, how you modify your weapons, or how you handle a conversation. The goal is for players to feel like they're authoring their own experience. That's it. Are you not entertained? Oh my God.
They gonna learn.
Oh boy. Yeah. I was about to say something crazy.
You caught yourself?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, bro, how do you not listen to that after the trailer we saw, by the way? It's not just empty words. After the trailer, we saw 7 minutes of just like in your face. This shit's awesome. Mm-hmm. And they're not even all the way at release yet, bro. And they saying this.
This is dream RPG kind of stuff. This is stuff we've been wanting, man. This is, again, it's like, we've always had these conversations about choice and consequence, true choice and consequence, where, I love what he said about one, putting in, first he's got the BioWare aspect, which like putting in so much content in as far as the possibilities and permutations of how things can play out, the microaggressions, all these things that not every player on one playthrough will be able to see all the things in the game. That level of detail is why people appreciate the Mass Effect series, the BioWare games, things like that, because again, it's the water cooler moment. Yo, you did that? This happened? And then I like when you're saying, yo, we're really going there with morality. We've got the dark humor. We're not, because let's be honest, a lot of these games force you down a good path. Let's just call it what it is, right? To say no, like you got to know what separates to truly be good by having these truly evil or great choices, right? Like that's super dope. Then you got the nerve to have build crafting. Then you got the nerve to have temporal and time manipulation. Then you got the it's really to the point where it is. I don't want to get too crazy, but it's sounding dream RPG-ish. And here's the thing from them, and again, everybody from Xbox Game Studios role since they signed. But what I appreciate is like, no. We went from a Wasteland 3, but we using these resources to do some tripulation. Like that, that's what I was expecting from the whole family. So in Exile is like, I'm like, this is what I thought was going to happen for everybody. Yeah. So I'm like, I love it. I'm pulling for them. This sounds like a dream come true kind of game. I am so happy for you. Like to hear the Dishonored references consistently, to see these very highly esteemed games being referenced with such reverence by Brian Fargo lets you know where his mindset is, where the team's mindset is. They also, I love watching their Twitter account and stuff like that. They seem to be a very fun, loving, having fun kind of studio. Yeah. They love games. Like, man, like I told everybody, if this game had the nerve to want to come out this year, like, please, you want to talk about oxygen in the room, Craig Duncan? This game better have its own oxygen. So to me, even if it's 2027, there you go. Like, bro, like this is the game to me for them. And I'm excited, man. If they pull this off, man, we are going to be talking. We've been on the NXL train for so long and everybody been sleeping. So it's just funny to me, but people going to recognize we're going to have a flannel moment. We told you. We told you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Is this the developer direct game for the summer? I mean, I feel like it deserves all of that showtime. No,
this is a game that definitely does deserve that kind of showtime. But again, it's under the context that when is it releasing? Because you do a developer direct. To me, it's like you're coming soon. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on the timing. And I'm perfect. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna say something controversial. You ain't gonna like it. There's a part of me that doesn't want to come out in 2026. I know it sounds crazy to say.
I don't think it will.
Is a part of me, this game, I don't want this getting buried. I don't want put this next to Gears and put this next to, no. This needs to be your flagship rollout marketing beat for this game and this game only, like a month. And that's all we're talking about. And we get trailers, we get information, we get a direct. Give this, he is in its own category.
Yeah.
And I just feel that I'm worried about the 25th anniversary oxygen taking up the room when this game should be a star on its own right. So I am of the mindset, if they need any amount of time to tweak, cook, give it to them.
100%.
Yeah. Let them carve out, between that January to March, you know what I'm saying, area of 2027, and let them have it. Yeah. Let them have it. That's just where I'm at. This game is too important and too ambitious to be, oh yeah, let's blast this out with another. Nah, nah, bro.
Let's get the revenue up for the quarter.
Yeah, don't hit me with the games and services percentage.
Yeah, I agree. I really sincerely believe this has the potential to be like the next big thing. If it delivers on its promises where it is that crazy, but it's also, the problem was they were doing this already with Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 is very accessible for people who are like into turn-based, but like I understand at the time they released it, turn-based was not like the cool thing.
Right.
Tactical style games are not the cool thing. You didn't have a Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that to really, or Sandfall with Expedition to really like shove this genre to everyone's in, everyone's open to it, right? So now you've got here like a first-person shooter, much more accessible, much more approachable. And you saw how well like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did. Mm-hmm. And if this pushes like a good quality level and it's like very reactive and it plays very well, watch out, bro. I mean, I feel we see it, but we also saw that Xbox wasn't giving their games enough oxygen. They seem to be realizing that now.
Yes.
5 years later, we started talking about this. I hope they recognize what they've got here.
Me too.
Like, I really sincerely hope if anyone from Xbox is listening, pass the word on, bro. Pass the word on. Like, I know the numbers aren't there yet. I've covered the game enough to know that the numbers aren't there yet for what it deserves. But if you give it its own window and its own shove, like you did with Fable, it will come. Yes. But I hope they recognize that, because this game could either be fart in the wind for hardcore people, or this can actually be like a big multi-million seller.
Yeah, this feels like again, if they nail it, it's a lot of it's super ambitious. We know the track record. Me and you feel good about it because we know what they do and we know what they've done. Right? It's just a matter of the execution. But it does feel like this will be the game. It's like, okay, this is your game of the year style contender, because like it's checking enough boxes and we have enough pedigree to feel that good about it. It's just the execution that, in this particular case. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, he is just like, I was just smiling through that whole interview. I'm like, wow, they're really going for it. This is not just a little shot in the dark. They are going for every RPG game's like dream, and it's just so the reins are off. Like they're going for it, man.
I had the privileges I talked about of interviewing Fargo, and the reason I have such optimism for this game, it's not really just what he's saying. I guess I probably should have led with all this. It's like, this guy has done this for so long, and he was deeply inspiring to me because he was still learning. Like, he was telling me on the interview I did, like books he was reading, how he's still like learning more things about microtensions and like writing and just he studies film. He studies, like, he's just obsessed with it. Right. And just like that bottomless passion, right, is what we need more of in the AAA space. And I think this guy's got it in spades. I mean, you look at his portfolio on Moby Games, like, this is a true industry hero in every sense. And the fact that he's still like fired up for it, and that he's working on like what he's calling like a dream project. And for me as a player, I'm looking at this like, this is a dream game. Yes. Like, I do think that passion, I know it's intangible for a lot of people. I do think it amounts to something. Like, I don't see this just being a little like, oh, they kind of missed on a few things. Like, when you got a guy this deep in the game, we've seen the developers with their nose up in the air before, who are kind of like, yeah, like been there, done that. Like, no, we have a process. But I like that Fargo, even this deep, is learning more about the process. I'm sure he has his own, but like, he's learning more about others' process. How can he incorporate that into his own? Watching TV, games, movies, learning about like what in that scene got me. Studying that on a molecular level and pulling that into your own experience, it's invaluable. Absolutely. And I think that's why this game will deliver, because they're spending the time in a way that, as you mentioned, I wish other Xbox game studios did, where, yes, it's been a while, but I think when you look at that 7-minute trailer, you see where the time is being spent. Yeah. You see the character creator and how that is just like one big shape-shifting asset that's insane. But beyond the little things like that the general player won't care about, you see that the pedigree of choice and consequences there. You see the hilariousness is there from Wasteland. I love that dog humor. This is like the father of Fallout, truly.
Facts. This is legit. Like, this is the guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we've grown to love. He's the originator, right? So it's just like what you said too about passion and awareness is very important. You know what I'm saying? Because again, to be aware of multiple games, multiple genres, to know what makes something fun or great, to be that aware to because let's be honest, a lot of creators, sometimes they stay in their bubble. You know what I'm saying? They stay, I you could tell from, again, just anybody who's follow the NXL Twitter account, just follow it.
Good spirit, man.
You'll learn so much about this team. They are having a ball doing what they're doing. So yeah, salute to them, man. And it seems like, this is where I think the what is it? I call it the cool uncle approach. In their case, it works for them because they're so self-motivated. They're so, you know what I'm saying? Obsidian has that, but this is like next level. Like I'm not going for like, again, if they nail this, we're going to be having these conversations about the hierarchy of XYZ Studios. And again, I'm super pumped. I'm super pumped for them. I'm super pumped for what Playground's doing. Obviously, Obsidian's held the fort down for a long time. Coalition's hopefully coming to see if they get back. They've got some talent here, but watch out for NXL. They pull this, the way they talking, this is like, I don't want to get too hyperbolic, but this could be like a Baldur's Gate 3 kind of moment if they nail it, right? There's enough pieces in here involved that we could see some special things happening. Just let them cook.
I think the way they market it will be very key.
Yes.
As in, like, I know Fargo's a fan of content creators, and I think that is a wise approach. Like, I think you got to let the people speak. I don't think going through press all the time is the wave, and I think NXIL knows that. Mm-hmm. And so I think as long as they don't let the traditional Xbox like stuff this in the middle of 40 other fucking things, gets this game again, like when it gets ready for prime time. I mean, right now it's fine. It's creating awareness. But like when it gets to that point where it's like time to like impressions, hands on, like I hope they get as many people involved because I think this game will speak for itself for a lot of people. And if they kind of do what Baldur's Gate 3 did, which is just let the consequence of your game speak for itself, where like I remember there was like they were just revealing the crazy shit you could do. Like you can sleep with a bear, or you can do this, you can do that. And people are like, this game does everything. And there's a true love for that BioWare style RPG to this day. Baldur's Gate 3 really displays that. So I think NXIL can swoop in and really capture a lot of people. I feel very good about the game. So I just, man, I really cannot wait. This is like one of my most anticipated games. And whenever, I mean, it's one of those ones I'll try to be patient about, but whenever they deliver, I think it's going to be glorious. Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is if just to add on to what you said, it would have been my undisputed number one most anticipated game of this year if I knew it's coming this year. You know what I'm saying? It's without question. So it's like now Fable's got to come back up. I'm like, all right, cool. But in a world where Fable and Clockwork were coming out in the same year, it's Clockwork.
100%.
That's where I'm at.
All right, Cog. That's all we got for the week. It's time to wrap it up. What are we doing for hashtag this week? What's coming to your mind right now here?
So much we talked about. Jesus. So much. I'm like at a loss because there's like so much, man. We had the Craig, we had that, we had the finances, we had the Clockwork, we got the High Guard. Bro, it was a lot this week.
High Guard catches my ear. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's the flavor of the week, right? Like, you know, flavor. Like we could do DD Guard.
DD Guard, yeah. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got this deep into the episode. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I'm at G27status on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. Use the hashtag DD Guard. Let us know your thoughts on the latest episode. If you don't have Twitter or X or whatever you call it, use the comment section down below. Hashtag DD Guard. We'd love to hear from you on the episode and what you liked most. Maybe what you hated. Maybe you hate listening to us. We appreciate you as well. Cog, as we get on out of here, any final thoughts?
No, man, this is good. This is good. We had a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good stuff today. I like the indie joint. You know what I'm saying? That was very, very informative. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Lots of news, lots of games. We about to start. I mean, February's going to be here. Now the motion starts hitting. These releases.
Yeah. A lot of games coming out. I'm looking at this month, Reanimal. That's
fun. Played that at Tokyo Game Show. Very excited about that one.
Looks really good. And the other one I'm looking at for February, I'm not going to lie, Fatal Frame 2 Remake looks kind of nice. Like if I can squeeze that in, I'm just on my horror groove right now, bro. Let me get that in, play a little Requiem afterwards. We'll see. It all depends on the RE pilgrimage, but
yes,
Reanimal will definitely be getting played. I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice. Love it.
All right, Cog, we're getting on out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for listening. We'll be back with episode 266 next week. So until then, stay warm for those of you in the Northeast. For the rest of you, we envy you. We have a ton of snow here. And we'll catch you next week. But until then, peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.